goes. Start your engines!
Ready. Green flag. All rolling. All the way out. Stay in. Come on. Bye-bye, Conan. See you later. These guys are really good. Keep digging. Stay in the gas. Hang on, dude, baby. Did not hit a thing. Why you wait so long, man? Bottom clear, shaking you down here. White flag. Hit your mark.
Hey everyone, welcome to NWP. I have some sad news to share with you guys. I am pretty darn sick. I don't know if I have strep throat or what it might be right now, but that's why we got two other guys on this show. They're gonna help me carry through this show today. We're still rocking, we're still rolling. There's still a lot to talk about in NASCAR, and I'm not gonna let it dampen my spirits on my Tennessee Vols to beat Eric's Sooners this weekend. But no, all jokes aside, we're ready to talk some NASCAR this week. Sorry, I'm feeling down under the weather. I had a cold 2 weeks ago, got over that, and suddenly Monday night it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had a sore throat, and now I sound like this. So, guys, let's get into it. What should we talk about first?
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
What are they selling?
Chocolate!
What?
They're selling chocolate!
I remember chocolate.
I always hated it.
I kind of sound like Beetlejuice right now.
The juice is loose.
Yeah, lean into it. It's getting into that time of year, spooky season. But now that beautiful disclaimer and bit is out of the way, now that we've broken the ice, we can talk about Chris Buescher breaking the spirits of the playoff regulars. Should we just jump right into it, Jarrett? And Danny, yeah. I'm sorry, Danny still is here. He's able to talk. I feel bad like throwing it to him too often.
Yeah, I'm here. I will try to participate, but don't be shocked if I'm a little quiet tonight, which is unfortunate that it worked out this week to be on my channel. So Danny B Talks is not doing much talking.
That's unfortunate. Well, he can man the chat. I mean, Danny, you are best known for commandeering our live chat.
That is very true.
The polls, man, the iceberg fly is in my realm today. Off to a beautiful start.
I just got a text from a friend that said one of the best openings ever.
We killed that. We absolutely killed that.
We killed it like almost as Danny's
Buescher
voice.
Killed the field.
Yes,
just killed SVG's right rear in the carousel.
People are gonna think this is ASMR time. I'm your host, Danny B. We're whispering tonight, everybody.
We're actually like Jim Nance. We're calling golf right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. Going to Buescher here. I'm kind of with this crew chief who was just like, man, screw the chase, like we won. Like Buescher has been, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked drivers all year, and I think a lot of people aren't appreciating just how good that 17 team is, and I think a lot of people don't realize just how good that driver of the 17 is at these road courses, because he was up there all day long. Like, it wasn't like, he was just, he popped up at the end because everybody ran out of fuel or whatever. No, he was up there. He was competing. He's always competing at these road course races. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the top 5 competing at the Roval in a couple weeks. So I can't say that I'm surprised he was up there. What I'll say I'm surprised by is the fact that he just outright outdueled SVG at the end of that race.
Yeah, that was most shocking. I mean, SVG made a mistake, obviously, that opened the door for Chris Buescher. But still, that Buescher was able to stay on SVG's heels. Like, if you noticed, it was a 2-car breakaway on that by the time they took the white flag. There was no one else in the picture. So Chris Buescher doing my neighbors in Prosper, Texas here a solid, doing them proud.
How many neighbors you got there?
About 30,000 just across the Frisco Prosper border up here in North Texas. So, no, congratulations to Chris Buescher because, yeah, to your point, Jarrett, he's been solid lately, one of the best drivers and teams, I think, to miss the playoffs, but he does not get enough credit for his road course prowess. I think I ranked him the 5th best road course racer in the Cup Series a couple weeks ago. I'd say it's about accurate. And I think more people should take note of just how consistent he's been. What's crazy to me, and he did it again this weekend, His average start at road courses is like in the 20s or high teens. With how difficult it is to pass in the next gen car, that should be a death sentence. It's not though. He has this is before Watkins Glen, and he qualified 24th at Watkins Glen, which is what I mean. He did it again, 24th to first. But coming into this race, he had the 18th best average start at road courses in the next gen era, but the first best average finish. That's ridiculous splits, if you ask me. It just tells you he has immense pace, tremendous racecraft, and all of that was put on full display, especially those final few restarts at the Glen.
Well, and it wasn't like just talking about, because we'll talk about the playoff side in a moment, but
yeah,
it was just a race of underdogs and overlooked drivers. I mean, I'm looking at the top 10 right now, and it's
just look at the top 5. There's not a single playoff driver there.
It's Chris Buescher. It's Shane Van Gisbergen, who I guess isn't underdog or overlooked, but he's like outside of the normal conversation that we have in these races. Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain, Zane Smith. Okay, you got Briscoe up there. Nice. One of the people that everybody was like, he doesn't deserve to be in there. Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie, Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, who everyone said didn't, including myself, didn't deserve to be in there. Noah Gragson. Yeah. Oh, then there's Kyle Larson. There's that one guy who's
finally.
Yeah, it's a guy who thinks he's as good as Max Verstappen and Rex every week. So maybe overlooked a little bit by overlooked in a different way. Overlooked in a different way. But it was a complete flip of what we normally get in these races. And I'm not crazy about Watkins Glen necessarily staying in long term, just because I do think in the summer fits really well at that end of the regular season. Pretty strong when it comes, especially attendance. I think it's an 8th straight sellout, which means over 100,000 people were there again. Pretty good with bringing people in to watch, depending, on when in the year, all that. But I'd be okay with more races like this, whether it's, I'd say a purpose-built road course being in the playoffs, because I like having playoff guys get outran by the other guys in the field, and the other guys in the field not just be background characters. I like them actually being up in the fray, up in the fight, and somebody that they're going to have to deal with. I mean, I just listed all those guys off, and you look at the laps led in this race. Insane. I didn't realize SVG only led 1 lap in this race, but Buescher led 19 in this race. McDowell led 7, and Ross Chastain led 51. I mean, and I think Chastain should have been in, but damn, I like that it wasn't just the guys who we think should have been in either. It was just all around. I know I'm rambling here a little bit.
No, but
I'm covering for Danny's lost time here. Love you, buddy.
No, it was tremendous that there so many of these great road course racers were up near the front all day long. I to go back to the finishing order, 3 Spire cars in the top 10 is pretty tremendous. Hocevar 3rd. Another driver who I believe qualified like 20 something. I think didn't he have to start at the rear due to like an unapproved adjustment or something? So dude had to make up 30 plus positions over the course of the race. Like that, I'm not sure that was possible a year ago. I wasn't even sure it was going to be possible this weekend, but Carson Hocevar made that happen as a rookie. Very impressive.
And how about that Spire? I mean, Spire 3rd, 5th, 8th.
And their future driver was 7th.
Future driver 7th. And they beat this little team called Hendrick Motorsports.
All 4 of them, I guess.
All 4, because Larson finished 12th. I'm scrolling through again. Larson finished 12th. Bowman finished 18th. Elliott finished 19th. Byron finished on a guardrail.
Damn, on another car. But yes, I guess that's, and on a guardrail. No, very impressive from Spire and a lot of these smaller teams. Absolutely. The race did go to overtime again. I don't know if we want to touch on that. Was it Steven Stumpf, I think, tweeted that's 12. Was it 12 races that have gone into overtime now? 12 cup races. 12 out of 28 cup races have gone to at least one overtime this year. That is a new Cup Series single season record.
How many races have finished early this year? Because we had the 600.
Like rain shortened.
We had Chicago.
Was there 600.
Was there any other?
There's a few that got postponed. Like I,
Well,
I don't remember.
Because where I'm going with this is we're batting 50% on races actually making or finishing on their scheduled distance this year.
I see what you're doing. Good math there. Yeah, that's
Like-
pretty wild.
And one of the races that we're not even counting had to be started a day early. This is just
Yeah,
wild.
the Clash. That's right.
This is just wild to me.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. It's become a meme at this point. All the overtime restarts. In this case, there was only one overtime attempt. We had a couple of spins in the closing laps before overtime that felt avoidable, like you mentioned, the Byron on a guardrail. Like that was mid-pack, bunch of playoff guys running over each other. And then with 4 to go, I think it was another mid-pack. Larson, Gilliland, a few others got caught up in it. Truex was caught. Like, I mean, Martin Truex Jr.'s comments afterwards, he's basically, I'm done, I'm out, which quite literally he is in a few weeks. I don't know, like a lot has been made of racing etiquette all year, really, but especially this week. And I saw Tyler Reddick was on Sirius, sort of, lamenting how drivers lose their heads at the ends of some of these races. And we even saw it in Xfinity. Xfinity, there was some great racing for second until, Riley Herbst got turned in front of half the field and they wrecked 10 cars. Like there was a lot of, I guess, unnecessary carnage. I don't know. Do you think, what's your takeaway on that, Jared? And Danny, if you want to chime in, like, do you think, is there anything NASCAR can do, or do we just have to sit and hope the drivers start to hold each other accountable?
Danny, you want to go first? No.
I think at this point, NASCAR's had plenty of chances to do something, and if they were going to do it, they would have done it already. So at this point, I think it's on the drivers to police it a little bit.
So there's a couple ways I kind of look at this. One, I will say this. I don't know about the back of the pack, middle of the pack, and we'll talk about the Xfinity race in a bit, because the finish of that was absolutely wild when you looked at like third on back, second on back, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the finish of this race, especially between the leaders and a majority of the guys up front, that's what I would want in an overtime. And like I as I kind of labeled it on X, formerly Twitter, I had said like I am still a scheduled distance truther, damn it, But I also acknowledge that I think the sport has moved past me in that, and in order to kind of play towards a solution, I'm willing to meet in the middle and go for one, or maybe like a 20-minute time limit of being like, guys, like we cannot be doing these races where we go 40, 50 minutes past. I mean, we actually through regulation in this race, which is crazy enough, went past the time window because NBC gave such a ridiculously short time window on TV. It was 2 hours. That was the time window this week for the race, which was odd.
That had to be a typo.
Yeah, somebody was like, damn it, guys, we need our reruns of SVU. I'm willing to do that. Or if the drivers can't self-police themselves, if the drivers can't race like professionals, can't be the adults, maybe something I think we should do, just until the drivers can act like professionals sometimes, and they were better this week. Let's just take away some of the bracing and the bumpers, and let's just give more damage here. Let's have more damage to these cars when you do this stuff. These cars are indestructible. We've heard the drivers say it before. We already talked about we still need more crush zones with these cars to dissipate the force, so we wouldn't be hurting the drivers. In fact, we'd probably, based on what people say about physics, be putting them in a safer car. Let's just make it let's make it easier to damage the cars, so the drivers actually have to keep that in the back of their head, like, oh crap, I could really screw myself instead of playing go bowling at the Glen.
Yeah. No, I think that's the point, is the format and the car lend both of themselves to this type of racing. And I just don't think I know it's like the Clash. How do you self-police when the guy 4 rows back started the crash? Like that's sort of what I felt we were seeing at times at Watkins Glen, especially in that tight turn 1. We have seen NASCAR step in and move restart zones, go to single file restarts. They've been willing to act when it calls for it. Maybe there's more there can be done there. But yeah, I think your point about fans moving past ending at the scheduled distance is correct. Like I remember, and we know how steeped in tradition, we think NASCAR is full of tradition. The Indianapolis 500 is steeped in tradition. And I remember a few years ago when that race ended under caution, at least social media was in complete and total uproar. And I get that most of the fans watching the Indy 500 are casual fans or maybe NASCAR fans tuning in to their one IndyCar race a year. But that uproar to me was eye-opening and told me, wow, we are past the point of no return. I don't feel there's any point in fighting the rule at this point. It's just pleading with the drivers and the sanctioning body to police themselves differently in that moment.
No, and I think it's that part of it's just an American audience thing. Like we are.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I think if you look, just look at the history of sports with American audiences, and we reach for the absurd. Like when you look back at craziest plays, moments, whatever. Like I'll put it like this. I grew up as a Bulls fan up in Northern Illinois. You want to watch good basketball or study something to help you play basketball as a kid, you just put on your parents' VHS tape of Michael Jordan in the finals, and you just watch a player and just figure out which one you're supposed to be in the role of, right? But when you ask people up there, especially I'd say our age, like what's the craziest kind of basketball moment that you remember? Just a casual, not even someone that's necessarily an NBA fan. They'll bring up something like, as it's the Malice at the Palace, I believe. If you bring up NFL stuff, you ask old fans, they'll tell you about the Holy Roller. They'll tell you about the Immaculate Reception. You bring up to new fans, they'll talk about, the Minneapolis Miracle, the Philly Special, all these crazy plays, all these crazy moments that are just absurd to happen in these big moments. And I think that motorsports are no different. Like if you were to ask a motorsports fan, a NASCAR fan back in 1992, hey, what are your thoughts on us having no limit to when the race could end? They would say you're absolutely insane. You're a lunatic. Like, that's so stupid. It's an advertised distance for a reason. Like, I'd like races to finish under green, but sometimes you end with a kneel down. Now you ask fans, and they think it's absurd what we used to do. They think that the plays, the crazy things that happen are those are absurd from how kind of, I guess, mellow they would be. I'll be honest, when the moment that we'll know for sure that NASCAR has won the culture war of overtime is when Formula One, to win over Americans, puts in a rule about an overtime finish. Like that will be your litmus test to be like, you know what, IndyCar, y'all lost the battle if like even F1 is catering towards these American fans now. It's just it's a natural way that fans are going over time. We want something to one up what we saw before. I mean, we see it all the time in sports. I don't see why NASCAR is any different at this point.
Yeah. I don't want us to move too far away from the some of the top finishers in this race. Again, Spire with their great runs. The fact that only 2 playoff drivers finished top 10 at Watkins Glen. Hendrick Motorsports, you highlighted this earlier, Jarrett. Larson in 12th was the best finish. But I mean, if we look at, I guess we can.
Oh my God.
Where should we go? Do we want to look at the points, or do we want to go?
1 second. So I'm not going to point out like what it was saying in there. I didn't realize mods could time out people for 86,000 seconds.
Whoa, that's pretty wild. 86,000. What a specific number.
24 hours, and that person, they hit them too. They should have been hitting the channel for that.
86,000. Is that 24 hours? Or is that like a year? How many seconds are in a? Hold on a minute.
The American education system, ladies and gentlemen.
How many seconds are in a day?
Well, just do 86,000 divided by 60 divided by 60 divided by 24.
It is 86,000. Damn. Yeah. I forgot to carry the zeros. Damn. Okay.
This was a leap year, so that many seconds times 366 with an extra day, that's 31,622,400 seconds in a year. Start
counting, folks. Well, I wanted to kind of look at the points because this gives us a chance to talk about other drivers who had good or bad days in the playoffs, at least. If you have a graphic, I don't know if you have a graphic for this, Jarrett, but I can kind of read them off.
Here we go.
So obviously Logano is locked in. Christopher Bell plus 46. He managed to top 15. That's solid. Austin Cindric, he's the only playoff driver with 2 top 10s in these playoffs. He's plus 43. If you had Cindric, Bowman, and Suarez being 36 points or better at this point in the playoffs, check that off your bingo card. That's impressive. Tyler Reddick is plus 30. So is Chase Elliott. Reddick, another driver who I would say really disappointed considering how good he's been at road courses the last 3 years, was an absolute no-show all weekend. Blaney plus 29. This is where we can pause for a moment and talk about that lap 1 incident that damaged Denny Hamlin's car for the first time and ended Ryan Blaney's day less than a lap. And I feel for Blaney. This is twice in 3 weeks now. He's been crashed out in the opening laps by no fault of his own, unless you point to that piss poor qualifying effort, which I think the team does share some blame for starting 30th. You can't start 30th at a road course and expect to run well unless your name apparently is Chris Buescher. So yeah, that lap 1 crash, Corey LaJoie, I didn't listen to his podcast this week, but I saw some folks tweeting about it. It sounds like he's kind of in denial at this point. I feel for him. I like Corey LaJoie, but the man every other week is involved in some nonsensical crash. This was lap 1. He gets offline in the bus stop, spins Kyle Busch, ignites this whole wreck. I don't want to like pile on Corey LaJoie. I guess instead let's focus on how this impacted Ryan Blaney's season.
I'll say this, man. Corey LaJoie better not be carrying a pager on him because he is committing acts of terror about every week out on that racetrack. As for Blaney, I feel for him. I really don't think, looking at the grid, though, that he's necessarily in any danger per se, unless he goes absolutely off the rails. He finished
like last basically in this race and is still plus 29. I mean, that shows you how strong he was at Atlanta, and obviously had a good regular season. So, I mean, he's lucky.
He is. I will say,
and unlucky at the same time.
Yeah, unlucky, but he's the luckiest unlucky driver out there.
Yes.
Let's just say. But I'll say this with the DVP side of things, because that's really where the big talk got.
Yeah, he was upset with that.
I mean, I don't think that they would have been able to fix that in 7 minutes or whatever the hell it is this year.
That's probably true.
They change it just about every other year. Like, wasn't it 1 year it was like, 5, like it was every other year, and then they upped it.
They upped it. Then they determined it takes about like 5 or 6 minutes to change a broken toe link, so they upped it to like just above that.
So it's like, I don't think he would have been able to fix the damage, they said, based on what a lot of people that have more knowledge than I do on that, they said the same thing. But I do think, especially if you're going to be in the playoffs in these high-stakes situations with guys like Corey LaJoie, who are not anywhere near championship caliber, being in the field with you, with the shuffle up of racing that we have compared to any other sport with playoffs, I do think there should be a little give here. Because I feel like during the regular season, for good teams, there's a lot of give. There's a lot of leeway that you can have as a good team to make the playoffs. Look at Joey Logano. That is a good team and a really good driver that has not performed this year. They got a lot of leeway. They got 5 overtimes worth of leeway at Nashville that got them into the playoffs with a win. And so I'm not saying it's easy to win, but more just for these good teams, they have a good amount of leeway. And then you get into the playoffs and it's just cutthroat for the most part. I feel like you should at least have a chance to try and repair your car. And that goes for all of them in the field. Like, I get it. You couldn't drive it back. That's the rule. But NASCAR has proven time and time again, they'll change the DVP. They'll change any rule, honestly, not just the DVP rules. So why not change this one to at least give teams a shot, a little bit of that leeway to get back in that race? Maybe he'll run 12 laps down the whole time. But, there's been races before where 12 laps down at Watkins Glen will gain you 6 points. And those 6 points can be really big if you're close to the cut line. This isn't necessarily something that's reactive, I would say. I just think that maybe being proactive to keep, drivers' chances a little more alive, to keep storylines alive, I feel like that would make it a little more compelling, and we would actually, I think, give a little to the fans who want this complete policy gone anyway.
And what's the harm if a damaged car comes back out on the track 30 laps down, spills some debris out there? It's another caution. Why would NASCAR be opposed to that? They're desperate for cautions, it seems.
They've proven it.
Yeah, so I still never fully, completely understood why the DVP was implemented and why it was so strict. I get you don't want, you can say you don't want, half beaten to death cars limping around the track, potentially spewing debris. I understand you can claim safety. You can claim, hey, we do want some cautions, but this could create too many. Maybe they're upset with, lap down guys coming out and causing a wreck or getting, revenge on someone. I don't know what all the reasons
caused it.
Yeah, he probably did. Matt Kenseth's responsible for basically every rule change of the past 20 years. But whatever the case, it took away an element of competition that I think a lot of fans do enjoy.
Like
Like
character. I think
character.
character.
The team's rushing back to the garage to get everything fixed. Yes, we're 30 laps down, but to your point, Jarrett, when other wrecks break out later on, you could leapfrog a couple positions. Every point matters. I do think it seems way too strict the way it is. In the specific case of Blaney, I think I get why he's mad, but like you said, I don't think there was much else was going to change anyways. I just think going forward, if we wanted to eliminate the DVP rule, I don't see it hurting the product. I feel like if anything, it gives us something else to watch for.
No, I'll put like I love putting on old races while I run on the treadmill. You know, whether I'm running 3 miles or 14, whatever it is, I'll put an old race on my phone or cast it on the TV at the gym I'm at, apartment gym, and watch it with my headphones on. And one of the cool things is, like, when I was watching through the 05 chase, is the first race, I think it was Kurt Busch got taken out by Scott Riggs, and the camera following his team, like that low shot, ground shot, cameraman running with the camera, following that team that's following this beaten and battered race car. I love that stuff. And what to me it does is it creates urgency, and it creates a reason for that fan to watch.
There's another race within the race going on there, you know.
And I think that doing it now would create more urgency than it would then, because the margins are so much closer for these teams now than they would be then. Back then, you had 9 races to make it up if you crashed out of the first one, or in this case, 8 races. Now you have 1 after this. So it creates that urgency for the team to get you out there, save that many laps, save whatever. It also creates the urgency and the ability for fans, I would say, to watch. Like Ryan Blaney fans, I bet if he were closer to that cut line, would watch to see what happens to his competition late in the race, rather than be like, oh, Blaney's out, I'm out, I'll go turn on the game. Like, it gives you more of a reason to tune in. And I think that NASCAR this time of year needs every single reason possible to tune in.
I suppose I am seeing the chat. Folks are saying it's a cost-cutting measure. Teams don't bring as many spare parts to the track. And this is a good point from Ryan Idias. Teams used to bring whole cars, like to use as like parts cars, to the racetrack. So it's ultimately cost saving, I think, is what this was attempting to do. It's one less, or maybe multiple less sets of tires you have to burn. It's all the different parts you have to bring, less to carry to the track. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know how much money that costs these teams, the sport. Is it worth this element of competition that we're now losing? Is the price worth the storyline of a guy 30 laps down trying to fix his car and get back on the track to maybe gain a couple points? Like, I don't know. Now it is a fair argument.
A couple years ago, if Denny Hamlin would have been out there and made up like 4, 5 more points in any race he wrecked out on or whatever, like that Homestead race, I believe it was in 22. Was it 22 or is it 23?
When he snapped, the steering snapped?
Yeah, I can't even remember.
Last year, I think.
Yeah, so I'm betting, though, that those points would have mattered if he got back out there and something happened. And you know what? Yeah. Maybe you also add in the point that it's team preparation, too. Like, the team's more involved. How many parts are they willing to bring to fix the car? How many, like, would that extra money have mattered at the end of the year if you qualified in? If Ross Chastain ended up qualifying in and won that championship race instead of winning a race that he got overlooked in for winning for the championship battle, like, would that have mattered more? Yeah, I get it's all hypothetical and all of that, but I think in the moment it would create more urgency, and if you ended up winning, gambling with those extra parts and extra money and winning, then it would have been worth it.
I'm with you. I would like to see it return from an entertainment standpoint, from a competition standpoint, but I'm just saying, like, I think it'd be interesting to hear a team executive or someone give their take on if it's good or bad. Like, you know, if you ask Roger Penske, he's pissed because he's got money to burn and is mad that his driver wrecked out of Watkins Glen with no chance to fix his car. But if you ask other owners who'd be more objective, I'd be curious to hear how they actually feel about it, because maybe this is a case of NASCAR doing something the teams asked for, and, you know, fans might just have to deal with it. I don't know. It's tough. We talk all the time about cost cutting. I'll say this, of all the things NASCAR has considered or has already cut, I do think this is one that bugs me the least. I know a lot of people hate DVP, but, like, you know, at the end of the day, I don't care that much about a guy 40 laps down. That is a story if it's my driver and they're scraping for every point, but it's not a leading story. So I get why it's not a priority, but I don't know. I don't know what the money looks like, so I can't speak to it confidently.
They're not saving anything anyway, so it's to me it's like it's not like it matters to me anyway that they've said they don't save any money like with the next gen at this point, and I am for anything that can make me more interested in watching the end of the year, even if it's something as small and mundane as that. But
Yeah, no,
again,
that's
maybe
true.
maybe the sport has passed me by.
I just asked the teams. I'd be curious to see if they agree.
No, they'll
but-
just say, we keep our
Yeah,
books
that's not our-
closed.
That's not our job.
We just signed the line. I'm sick of it.
Looking back at the points, so Blaney we left off as plus 29, Larson is plus 26, William Byron after being involved in that late crash is now only plus 25. Chase Briscoe is plus 6. Ty Gibbs is plus 6. How about Chase Briscoe with a 27-point swing in one weekend? He was at the very bottom of the grid after Atlanta. He was the best performing playoff driver at the Glen and went from 16th to 11th, now 6 points to the good. I don't feel good about him at Bristol. I don't think 6 points will be enough, but he's given himself a fighting shot, which I respect that team. That whole team, Stuart Haas's resiliency late this year has been remarkable. Denny Hamlin, minus 6. We'll talk about him when we get to our Bristol preview, especially. He had a rough weekend, back-to-back rough weekends, though. Keselowski is minus 12. Another rough road course for Brad. Truex is minus 14. Harrison Burton is minus 20. We'll kind of touch on a lot of these guys when we get to Bristol, I feel, but that's kind of a good overview of how the points have shaken out after the Glen.
I find it funny. We're going to one of Toyota and Truex's best tracks. He's only 14 back, and it feels so insurmountable because the driver is so checked out and doesn't care.
Oh, he is absolutely checked out for a number of reasons. But no, Truex, Denny Hamlin, and even Brad Keselowski, those guys finished 1, 2, 3 at Bristol in the spring, and they are the first 3 out of the playoffs currently, right there on the bubble. So I can't wait. The second half of the show is going to be good. We will get to Bristol, folks. That's a little teaser. That's a little
It's
appetizer.
definitely looking interesting as to who can come out this weekend pretty good.
I feel bad, Danny. I'm not going to make jokes all night. You look like one of those people they show in the smoking commercials with a hole in their neck that's like,
Don't smoke. I made the mistake. Don't make the same as me.
Oh my
Don't
gosh.
make the same mistakes I made. I thought the Titans could win this weekend.
Just say no.
sorry,
Gosh.
I'm just like having flashbacks to like 2003 DARE campaigns in my school.
If
Yeah,
I can say one thing though, going back to the playoff standings and stuff, I know Eric pointed out Cindric and Bowman being so high is definitely a surprise. Cindric especially, Bowman being top 12 this round doesn't surprise me because he usually at least makes it there, but it being that high does shock me.
Yeah. And Bowman, another driver who finished top 5 at Bristol earlier this year. So I don't want to jinx these guys. I'm rooting for them, but I mean, I feel pretty good headed to Bristol that we could see at least a couple of round of 12 upsets, surprises.
I'll be honest, top 10 up. I'm good. I feel good about him.
Yes. What's that? Byron is plus 25. That's the cut. Yeah. I feel pretty good about all those guys. I think one of those drivers will wreck or have a big issue. And it's like Truex at Darlington a couple weeks ago, where he's just sitting in the garage or multiple laps down, just watching the points and hoping for the best. I think that will happen to one of the top 10 guys, and more than likely they'll still be safe because they have such a huge cushion, but I think it will be very tense for at least one of those drivers.
I like what Mark Brown said in the chat. Danny is saying something. I am indeed saying something.
Danny B Talks is indeed talking, more like a hushed whisper right now on the podcast. But
ASMR.
Jarrett, do you want to look at TV ratings?
Yeah. Kind of going to them really quick. So this past week at the Glen, it was a little rough. 1.809 million viewers. No direct comp. It was down 22% from last year, but that was in the middle of the summer. Up 3% from the second playoff race in 23. That was Kansas, but I'll just put it like this. This is actually one of the few rare weeks that NASCAR not only goes head-to-head with the NFL, it goes head-to-head with 10 NFL games at once, which is actually very rare to put that many as the noon slot. And IndyCar, which I don't know if you saw the ratings for IndyCar. It was rough for them. And this is on Big NBC. They had, I think, 480,000, I want to say. Like, they had less than an ARCA race.
Oh, man. You guys got to support the ovals. Come on now.
And But I want to say too, and I've noticed this like when I stream and an ARCA race is going on, or like when I've been on like with John streams and there's an ARCA race that happened or just happened, like there is a crowd that will watch ARCA over NASCAR. There is a crowd that crosses over there. There's a crowd.
I was about to say I don't believe you, and then I'm like, no, there are some die-hard ARCA people out there.
And there are some diehard IndyCar fans that will cross over with NASCAR and then NFL too. So it's like, to be up from the comparable weekend last year, I will take it.
Especially considering you're comparing a road course in a small market to a oval. You said Kansas in a moderately big market,
a growing one.
Yeah, that's surprising. That is, and I think that is good news.
And you have an oval race for IndyCar in a growing general area of a larger city with Nashville. Mm-hmm. And I'm betting you if they weren't head to head, if IndyCar was that, maybe like the time slot right after the race, or if it were, not the same day, like it won't be next year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, IndyCar next year, I think ends before the NFL regular season next year, which will probably help.
Speedway has lights. Why do we need to go that early in the day?
NBC, Sunday Night Football, probably.
Oh,
football. I'm ready for some football now.
I'm going right after the Cowboys game at 3:00.
But I think that not having that will help next year. I think IndyCar being on Fox will actually help NASCAR in the early first half of the year, especially because there won't be as much overlap, because you can't really overlap when they're supposed to be in a couple weeks on the same channel. So that's my hope for next year on my long-winded rant. Xfinity had 778,000 viewers on Saturday. No direct comps for that either because the date changes and everything like that. So a bit of a rough week. But when football comes back in full swing the first 2-3 weeks of the year, I think that's to be expected, and it still was above last year.
Even then, it would have been nice if they at least tried to do IndyCar finale on a Saturday night, because not like they had any good college football to go against. Tennessee was blowing out Kent State 65-0 at halftime, so
they were. That is a factual statement.
Tell you what, Danny, I'm one of these like prediction segments. I'm gonna have you leave the room. Maybe leave the house, because I know Claudio watches these in the other room, and make a prediction about you and bringing up Tennessee just like as a quota, and we'll just have Eric keep count.
So, I'm just being honest though. Like, what would they really have? They could have probably won out ratings on some of the games this weekend. They were all pretty bad.
Today he is right about that. What was the maybe you can't say because maybe it wasn't just, but what was the prediction last week? I had to take my headphones off for it. Is it still going? Am I allowed to know what it was?
It's still going.
It's still going?
Yeah. We'll know by the end of the show.
It's like a time bomb.
It was this week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, it's still going.
It's specific to this show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sus. What the heck? Okay. All right. I'm like on my best behavior over here.
Going to the poll, our poll, that had about 12,000 voters on it for how good they thought this race was. We had 51% say this was a great race, 35% said it was a good one, so 86% net positive, 10% said meh, average, and then 2% apiece for below average and bad, so 4% net negative. So I decided to do something different this week. One, because we have the same people every week. And two, because people just wanted to bring up controversies and things that I didn't want to talk about on the show. Just saying, let's just keep it to this show if we're going to keep comments about YouTube and all that. So I just chose the earliest one that is somebody I didn't recognize for the first comment. It's from Anthony Morelli 48. So is it positive, negative, or meme?
Negative, because they're a 48 fan and it didn't go super great for Bowman. That's my guess.
Positive. I'm not gonna let that affect it because Bowman still is like 41 to good.
In all caps. No way, bro. Who saw that?
Okay, I said positive. You liked it.
It seemed pretty positive overall.
It had the word no in it though. That's literally a negative.
Eric,
we're getting in the weeds here on this.
Do I need to get my dictionary out?
You are really, really stretching right now, Eric. You are stretching taller than what you already are right now.
How do you think I got this tall, Danny? I was like on one of those torture devices every week as a kid.
Moving on to the comments here. We got so we're just gonna split it up every week. 7 good ones, 3 gutters. Power of the poof. SVG catches the very edge of the bus stop wall. Chris Buescher, Freebird intensifies.
That's funny.
Evan Nukula said NASCAR race on a road course while IndyCar raced on an oval at the same time. We must be in the Twilight Zone.
What is this? Opposite day.
NASCAR Sam says Buescher is the 10th driver this season to break a winless streak of 36 plus races. I'm not
Really?
sure
The
how.
10th?
I think it's
Buescher,
true.
Bowman, Brad,
Logano.
maybe Logano,
And are we counting just Cup?
Elliott probably.
Oh yeah,
Elliott.
Elliott definitely.
Who won the 500?
Al-
Byron. That was.
Did you already
exciting.
bring up Bowman?
Yes.
Let's see.
And this is a challenge. Who are we forgetting? Suarez at Atlanta, probably. Yes.
Did you already say Buescher?
No, or maybe I did. Who
Brad
forgetting?
Keselowski.
That we just say that one.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to run it through in my head right now.
Cindric at Gateway.
Yep.
Is that 8? Have we gotten 8 yet? Chat. Oh, Briscoe. Someone said Briscoe. Yeah. Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah, there probably is 8.
Then Who's the?
Maybe more than 8. I think we've got 8 now. I think we're right around that 8.
So we got 2 to go. Dylan.
Oh, and
Austin
oh my
Dillon.
gosh, and Austin. Are we sure it's not like 10 to 12, 13?
And then let's see. Well, there's got to be one more in there because like they'll let us know, right? They're saying no. Burton, you can't break
Does
a winless streak if you don't have a win to begin.
Yeah, I
with.
don't know if Harrison counts. I mean, it is still like a big like whoa win, but
What about no? Because he won earlier. Now I'm just like running through in my head like who the hell was it? We already said Buescher.
I think we did get to. Was it 10? Was that the number?
Ryan
we had to get
Blaney.
to?
Was Ryan Blaney? No,
No.
Ryan Blaney wasn't one.
He couldn't be. No,
I'm like reading off in the chat and I'm like, no, it can't be that one.
I think we got. Was it 10? I already forgot. What was the comment?
10.
Or 10?
They're
So it's
saying
Bowman. This is great radio. Bowman, Keselowski, Suarez, Cindric,
Buescher, Briscoe,
Buescher, Dillon, Briscoe,
Logano.
Logano.
Now I'm just gonna look at the chat or look at the.
What was it?
Let's see. I'm just reading off the playoff guys that we haven't said. Bell, Reddick, Elliott,
Oh, Elliott was one.
Blaney, Larson, Byron,
And so maybe they're saying Burton. I
Briscoe,
guess they're counting Burton.
Gibbs, Hamlin, did you say Keselowski already or no?
Yes, I did.
Truex, Burton. Damn, that's good, man.
That's that's pretty surprising.
Damn. All right.
Just remind me of the question real quick. Sorry.
Said Buescher is the 10th driver this season to break a winless streak of 36 plus races.
They might be counting Harrison. They're probably counting Harrison.
Yeah, I don't count him.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, the Stress Gamer says best road course race of the next gen era. I'll say this: there's still room for improvement, but it felt like a pre-next gen road course race for the first time, and I like that.
It was up there. It was one of the better ones.
X-X says Hamlin in prime playoff choking form early this year.
It is pretty crazy that he's just like. I don't always agree with Kyle Petty, but what did he say this week that Hamlin overthinks and therefore he always comes up short? Like he is just thinking way too hard about this. We're going to go for 20 points at Atlanta. What the hell are you talking about? Just go race. It's a super speedway. You're good at that.
Let
What
me
do you
tell
mean
you
you're
something,
going to
man.
ride around the back and get it? Like, so no, I agree. And then Watkins Glen, they were bad in qualifying, damaged early.
He's a decent
wrecked
road course
late.
driver.
I know, but well, he was good at Watkins Glen last year, but he hasn't been very good at road courses lately. I just think now he's he's superstitious about that damn dog. Like, what is he?
He's insanely good at Bristol, especially in these last few years. He won
We're gonna-
earlier this year. But
That's exactly right, Danny. He should run top 5 this weekend, but I'm not necessarily
he should
convinced
just
he will.
focus on getting out there and honestly, forget where he's at. Just go for the win. You're good enough to win here. So
Yeah,
I think his
but
eyes off the ball.
I just don't think he's capable of doing what you just said, Danny. I think he's going to overthink it. He's going to be asking about the points. He's going to be. I just think he's in his head.
I think he's his eyes off the ball for two reasons. I think one, the penalty I think took the entire team probably by surprise, as it should, not their fault. And then I think he's distracted with the charter stuff. I mean, he's been in the media the entire.
That's obvious at this point.
Yeah,
he's does so much. He owns a team. He's in a very public civil war with NASCAR. They just opened a brand new building.
I am hopeful that the extension of Bubba gives me hope that they're close to reaching an agreement. Because why would you extend a driver if you're not even going to be set on racing next year?
Perhaps
what Denny needs this week is just a solid top 10, top 5 night. Get stage points the whole night. Enough. Stay out of trouble. Solid night, back to the bread and butter of what the 11 team does. That's what they need this week. Get back on track.
The problem is he's going to go into this probably really careful, really conservative, and something's going to go wrong. And I don't
play prevent defense.
That's exactly it. I don't think he's been playing prevent defense these first two races, and it's blown up in his face. So I don't know. Anyway.
Well, and bad luck getting taken out lap
one. I'm going to ask him if they think Denny Hamlin makes it past this weekend.
To be fair, Denny did come back to finish 23rd, which isn't good, but isn't terrible considering how much damage was on that car.
Random Tire says, minus the cautions in overtime, pretty good race. And then the Cloud Creation says, as a longtime Corey LaJoie defender, he needs to get out of NASCAR. The dude is so destructive. It's like everyone is racing while he's playing demo derby. Also, so much for the tire wear. Here's to hoping Bristol delivers.
I doubt it'll be as dramatic as the spring, but I hope it's something.
And then the gutter comments. First one from David Conley, who says, didn't watch. I'm shocked.
Well, sorry.
Mike says, F1's still better. Mike is wrong.
No, it's not.
And anyone want to guess why this one was downvoted for? I'll read the comment. It's from Kyle Larson Sucks.
He could say anything and it would be something.
Saying, the last lap was peak stock car racing. Rubbing but not wrecking. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Proof. He could say anything and he would get downvoted. That was
a genuinely good statement, but the name will get you every time.
Yep.
But that'll do it for the Cup side of things. There was the Xfinity race where Connor Zilisch, I'm just going to say it now, he put on a damn clinic. Like, that was incredible to watch. Pardon my Kyle Petty on that one.
Yeah, Connor Zilisch, extremely impressive. Drove out to like a 10-plus second lead in the opening stage. Like, that's ridiculous. I know SVG started at the rear, so if maybe if started on the front row, it would have been a little closer. But like, goodness me, it's wild.
Y'all better enjoy Connor his short 1 or 2 years in Xfinity while he's there, because he's going to Cup in no time.
You better enjoy if you're picking him on this show, because whoever is in last will have a freebie again at the road courses. So I was like wondering, like, man, SVG is leaving. We're gonna actually have to do some research into our Xfinity road course picks if we're in last. No, we don't.
That actually makes me think, like, how old is SVG? I don't really know what his age is.
35. So
he's not going to be in Cup for a long, long time. So you got to imagine he's just keeping that seat warm for Connor right now.
Well, maybe. Daniel Suarez is on a 1-year deal.
Mm.
And I don't know what Chastain's contract looks like.
So. Expires at the end of next year.
Well, it's either next year or the year after. So
one of those two is on a hot seat waiting for Connor right now.
Roll the dice. It's Suarez. I mean, we saw
probably
by
a little
how
hotter.
We saw by how Justin Marks treated Zane Smith. Like, if you're not performing or you're not fitting into what he wants, he will leave you on the side of the road without any clothes. Like, you're done.
Dude, Chronic brings a good point. HMS poaches him. Could happen. They could see him as a better opportunity than Bowman in a few years.
They'd have to probably buy out the contract with Trackhouse, though. But, I mean, we'll talk about it a little later, the interesting stuff with Colleague and Trackhouse, and I think that'll come up in a bit. What impressed me most about Zilisch in this race was not that he won, was not that he got faster saving fuel, was the fact that on old worn out tires, he was outrunning and keeping pace with SVG on fresh tires and almost lapped him.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. I would say I was also impressed with his ability to hang on restarts, because he won the opening stage, got shuffled back into traffic then at the end of stage or at the beginning of stage 2 and had to work his way back forward really throughout the race. Even towards the end, he was in the hornet's nest on some of these restarts. A couple times I went, ooh, because it looked like he was into somebody or they were into him, especially through those S's, how fast, how tight that is. His ability to survive all of the late restarts was just as impressive, I would say, as his raw pace.
I mean, he looks out there, at least road course wise. We'll find out more with the ovals. I believe he's racing Xfinity in the 88 at Kansas, right?
I believe so. I'm just excited for tomorrow night because he's doing ARCA and trucks back to back at Bristol. And yeah, I mean, there's other good guys. William Sawalich is in both those races. Corey Day will be in both those races. Like, I don't know if these kids are going to contend for the win. I don't know if they're going to pull a Sam Mayer out of their hat.
I was
But
gonna say, was it Sam Mayer who won both races in one night?
yeah, when he was
Yep.
17. That was like that still probably is the highlight of Sam Mayer's career. Not that he's done not that he's been terrible, but he's been up and down since then.
I'm wondering if like anyone tonight, whether it's one of us or the chat, is going to have the cojones to pick Zilisch for that race, just to
It's
say.
tempting.
I mean,
Just to say they did.
It is, man, because like
because he's easy to root for too. Like you
Yeah.
listen to him talk, and he's very like you saw. I don't know if y'all saw the clip of Dale Jr. calling him during
Yeah.
the press conference. Like he just very mature kid. Seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. Obviously, he's done a ton of racing across the world. Like he's not been in one little bubble and just now is seeing the big time for like he's been big time. I feel for a while. He's been exposed to a lot for a while. So I feel like he's mentally as ready for this moment as he is physically. So that's what makes him especially exciting, I think.
And I was telling Danny, him and I jumped in the Zoom call early. Like one of the first things when we were talking is like, I think, you know, between like the Dale Jr. storyline, selfishly on my end, looking at it, like I think I'm more excited for the Thursday and Friday shows than I am for actually the Bristol night race, which is weird to say because I'm excited for the Bristol night race, but it's just
well, I'm just excited. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm hyped. This is going to be this has the potential to be one of the best Bristol weekends in years. So I'm very excited about
This
that.
is honestly one of my favorite sports weekends in general because we have racing to watch tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday. We got a pretty decent lineup of college football. Tennessee, Oklahoma's college game day. Tennessee, Oklahoma game that night. I'll also keep tabs on the Cup race, but just a lot of good sports overall this weekend.
yeah, and it's one of the few Sundays too that everyone's gonna be rejoicing because they'll have free and all of that. And it's crazy too because this is like
I've
the
stopped
one
caring about Sundays.
this. Yeah, this side of the panel here hasn't. But like
I would trade Will Levis for a cracker right now.
I'm right here.
Not that guy. Give me a Ritz cracker for Will Levis right now.
I had Ritz crackers in my desk. I ate them last night. But what I was trying to get to is it's like one of the only 2 nights of the year where we do this show and we're less than 24 hours from a race. And I'm so damn excited for that because I almost wish we had more Thursday races. So because like we'd be like, oh man, we're gonna do this, and then the next day we get some damn payoff for what we're talking about. We don't have to wait that extra day and stuff. Like, sorry, I try and be like all analytical and professional and I fail miserably because I'm a fan just like everybody else that's out there right now.
Bristol brings out the fan in me. Bristol, especially the night race weekend, triple header, quadruple header, really all under the lights. Very exciting. I'm hyped.
If you are going to Bristol, go early and make time for all those tent vendors. Even just that alone brings out the nostalgia in you.
Yeah, like the year that if I had the space in my car, I would have brought home a 2003 Monte Carlo nose from a super speedway they had there. I was so damn tempted. Like I have the money. I have it in my pocket in cash.
Wow.
I just can't fit it in my car. I was so bummed because I'm like, I would have made that my TV stand. I would have spray painted that sucker red. I would have put the little Monte Carlo stickers on the headlights, put an 8 on it, and been like, oh yeah, I was actually raced in 2003 and in the 2003 Aaron's 499. I would have been that asshole that would lie to every single person walking into my house about that simply because it looked that damn good. Unfortunately, cars are big, and the inside of cars are not as big as the outside. It is not a TARDIS. But I think that covers it. Our long-winded Watkins Glen.
That covers Watkins Glen. How do we want to do super chats? Do we want to make Danny read the first super chat stage break, or should we?
I'll still go ASMR mode on him.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Then pound him out.
I got you on time.
All right, bring this in a little bit closer here. Welcome into Danny B's Super Chat Power Hour. Well, Power 3 minutes, but Isaac V24 appreciated $1.99. Favorite short track, i.e., a track less than 1 mile. It's easy. Bristol, baby.
Martinsville.
Indeed.
Eric?
Bristol.
Ross Crash Lane appreciated $5. It was simple error from LaJoy. He saw Go Bowling at the Glen, and he thought it was the instruction manual, not the race title. I'm trying not to laugh because that kind of hurts right now. Crash Travels USA, appreciate the $4.99. Heads up for out-of-stating people using Nashville as a jump-off for Bristol. The cities are in different time zones. Good point. We are Central Time.
Oh yeah, Tennessee's so long. Half the state's in Eastern and half's in Central. That is weird.
Spencer Purcell, appreciate you being a member for 39 months of Danny V Superfans. Baseball, 117 losses for the White Sox. Crazy. And the crazy thing is, they may be moving to Nashville. That might be my home team
I'm
soon.
telling you, I will be that asshole Cubs fan that just buys a seat right behind home plate and raises a W flag every pitch and is on TV.
As you should. As you should.
Hey, they can stay in the AL Central because they'll still be in the Central time zone.
Isaac V24, appreciate $1.99. These $2 are for you to heal. Get well soon. Thank you, Isaac.
Use it on some Zickum.
On our next some fishing, appreciate the $4.99. I completely agree with Ryan Blaney being pissed. The DVP rule needs to be reevaluated. I think we've all kind of agreed on that a little bit. Gary Buki appreciated $10. Had a great time at the Glen. Beautiful area. And what a weekend to be at a track. Between Zilisch and that cup finish, more than worth the cash. Even had some Aussies there for SVG, which was cool. I really want to get up to Watkins Glen one day. It's a shame I haven't been up there at least once, especially considering my wife's an Elliott fan and how good he's been there in the past.
Yeah, that's on my list of tracks to get up to. It's a hike from where I'm at, but that track experience looks incredible.
Lucas Hansen appreciate the very generous $19.99 from you. The reason why we had those 10 finishers is because playoff drivers went points racing and non-playoff drivers flipped the stages. If this is not a playoff race, it's not like this. Passing was not good. Horsepower is the solution.
Well, that's partially true. Stage 2, because of when that caution came out, guys like SVG and Chastain and a couple others, even like Logano, who I know is a playoff driver but wasn't points racing, they were forced to take the points and still pit. So they're partially right. It was hard to pass, but I won't say that it was just strategy that let these guys up front. Like SVG and Chastain and Buescher were just actually really fast.
3 minutes.
We only have 2 more, so I'm just gonna get through them. That's okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And one of them's not even one. David Bell just becoming a member again of Danny B Superfans. Thanks for rejoining, David.
Shout out, David.
And then the 2 more we have CBB appreciate the $10. Corey LaJoy applied to work at a post office but was rejected for 2 reasons. 1, for being on the terror watch list, and 2, he saw his races and realized he lied about being experienced at hauling mail. And lastly, Damian Cole appreciated $2. New, just getting into NASCAR. What should I focus on? Damian, I know you're new, but I think you should actually focus on some NASCAR history. Get to know a little bit about what the sport used to be before you get into too much of what it is currently. I know that sounds weird, but I think it's very important to know how it's evolved.
I would second that. And then when you get into the present day NASCAR, might as well hit the books and study up on how these freaking playoffs work, because that's the number one barrier I feel a lot of new fans struggle with, is how complicated playoff points are, how points carry from round to round, what qualifies you for the next round. I mean, we need NASCAR needs to sell an actual textbook effectively explaining in great detail and clarity how these playoffs work.
I'll say watch, if you're able to watch from the beginning of pre-race to the end of post-race. Get as much of the drivers' personalities as you can, because as fun as it is to watch the racing, and as important, and I think it's the most important thing outside of the fact that I think you need to connect with the driver if you're going to get into it. If you're watching and you want to root for somebody, you need to connect with that driver. Like for me, I was raised in a family that rooted for the Earnhardt. I really like. I just connected. I thought Dale Jr. was like the coolest person on earth as a kid back in the Bud days. And the more I learned about him, the more I liked him as a driver. So I think like, you know, if you have that time on Sunday, if it's, you know, if you're drawn to someone like my dad right now, after Dale Jr., he was drawn to Tyler Reddick, likes the guy's personality, likes the guy's talent. It all mixes together. I think that's an important thing, is that connection. This is the one sport, in my opinion, motorsports, where you have to, I think, connect more with the person than the jersey. Yeah. The car might look cool, but the car always will change. Driver, that person, that's going to be the person you root for through and through, or that manufacturer or that team with Hendrick Motorsports. And it's worth it. It's worth sticking with the person. But
I would also add, and I know this is hard to do nowadays, but for me playing, I don't know how old you are, commenter, but like if you are into video games, for me playing some of the NASCAR Thunder and EA Sports games in the mid 2000s really taught me a lot about the drivers at the time, but especially the tracks and sort of this different styles of racing. There obviously isn't a good NASCAR console game out right now, but even if you go back just a few years to one of the Heat titles, probably can get one out of a bargain bin pretty cheap for the PS3, PS4, Xbox One, whatever you may have. It might be worth giving it a try, because that's a quick way, I feel, to really learn most of the tracks on the schedule.
Is that going to close out Danny B's NPR hour?
Yes, well, yes, thank you for enjoying my ASMR power hour. Gosh, this has got to be the worst show in history for me, I swear.
And now I'm going to strike you with lightning.
Someone said drafty car. Dirty Def said drafty car. Play that. That'll teach
you
everything you know.
A really fun game. They did a great job with it.
That encompasses modern NASCAR flawlessly. Anyway, yes, lightning round.
Yeah,
yes.
I've struck Danny down.
Is it really sad when a moderately built mobile game is 10 times more popular than the most recent console NASCAR video game?
And 10 times more functional.
Some call it sad. I call it entertaining to watch. Speaking of entertaining stuff, we have a bit of lightning round here. First off, we do have our main NWP channel. You can look it up at NWP Clips. We'll have the NWP logo. We re-upload all the episodes on there each Thursday.
We don't actually post
Friday.
clips. We post full unedited episodes.
Yep. You get to experience it with us without being with us. But yeah, definitely check that out. Because especially this off season, I think we have we'll have probably a few things we managed to do at some point on there that should be pretty fun. In other news, the Phoenix finale sold out this past Thursday. This is actually the latest that this has happened since the event was moved and there were no restrictions placed on attendance for the event. So Homestead
Miami going to make a bid for 2026.
Homestead is calling, baby. Athlon Magazine will also be bringing back its preview magazine in January of 2025. For those of you who are longtime viewers of the show, you will remember that I would always be looking in a magazine for statistics. I can now do that again if I elect to do so. And then next week, we will be on, where's that? That man's channel. We'll be on Eric's channel on September the 25th, 2024.
Do you remember the 25th night of September?
I mean, hey, what's Saturday night?
Close enough. Well, that is the 21st.
Yes,
that's the night race. The Bristol night race in September.
We're Denny Hamlin. What? I don't know.
Were you calling it Hamlin wins?
I didn't finish. I didn't finish if he won or if he got eliminated.
Not the first.
He stands a good shot at winning, in my opinion. So.
He really does. But yeah, join us then. We will talk all about maybe what Denny Hamlin does, maybe not. Bristol, Kansas coming up. But yeah, that is the lightning round. I'm actually completely forgot where the button was to there. And Danny went in perfect position. I struck him again.
Man, put him out of his misery.
And right on time to save Danny, the sirens are actually just can you hear them? They're coming.
I cannot. What also I can't see right now is how many likes we're at. My stream froze. The like count froze at 43.
It says 284 for me.
284. We got to double it.
So listen, guys, I'm not feeling good, so I'm in no mood to really gaslight you guys tonight. So if you want to play it, great. If not, I don't freaking care. Whatever you
What's
guys feel like
I
it.
don't even know what's the golden night. Is it 400,
450.
450?
450.
450. All right, guys, we got to get to 450 likes for Danny here. We have to. 450, please. I'm not even going to gaslight.
Please.
I'm just going to plead. You guys have a little while. We have a couple more segments we can get through, but that doesn't mean you should take your time. Just click the little thumbs up right. Where's it at? Somewhere around here. Just click the little thumbs up button.
As we've learned this week from the free to watch channel, the CW being complained about by NASCAR fans, even the most easy of tasks will be difficult.
Are daunting. Yes.
Daunting,
indeed.
Eric
yes.
just wants to play again because he knows he's one behind me right now.
Oh, I need to come. I mean, and Danny might be off his game this week. I gotta get my redemption. We both need redemption, Danny. Jarrett made fools of us last week, so we can't let that stand.
That he did.
Yes. Do we want to move on to? Do we want to start with the Trackhouse news from yesterday?
I just realized. Sorry, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start off with. I just realized I wrote down the wrong driver's name on the top of who it was, so like I would have actually screwed up on that one.
You had the wrong random driver of the week lined up.
No, so like I got the facts for one, and I think I was looking up somebody else for the next week, and I wrote their name on there. So like say I'll use two drivers I already had. Like like say this week was Jimmy Johnson, and
You put Bill Elliott's
I put
name on it.
JJ Yaley on the top.
Oh,
or
that's
something
even
like
worse.
that. Like,
Wow, you maniac.
Oh, hey, according to Fox, JJ Yeley's a 7-time F1 champion or whatever.
That's
it
right.
was.
maybe
That would be a very good random driver.
Yeah. But yeah, Trackhouse.
Ty Norris is leaving, and according to Jordan Bianchi, he is likely to land at Colleague. Ty Norris has been the Trackhouse president since its inception. He obviously has a long history in the sport. He was with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, going all the way back to the 90s. He was with Michael Waltrip Racing, basically from their rise to their fall. He was briefly at Spire. And then since 2020, 2021, he's been with Trackhouse. And now he is moving on seemingly suddenly. See, to me, I think Ty Norris, he obviously has a ton of experience. You can argue that what his, the downfall of MWR, what blame does he share? Like you could argue how great he is at his job, but clearly he's been around a long time. He is, if nothing else, extremely experienced and well respected if another team like Colleague is quick to scoop him up like this. But what I am most concerned with for Trackhouse is the timing, because I was at Daytona like 3 weeks ago, and Ty Norris was hosting the press conference that announced SVG to Cup. And he was saying things like, when we come back here in February, we're going to have, 3 full-time drivers. We're going to do this. And now 3 weeks later, there is no we. There is just them. Ty Norris is not with the team. So it makes me wonder what changed over the past few weeks, or maybe it was a few months. And again, talking about timing, this comes right after Zane Smith gets let go. SVG goes to Cup. They announce Zilisch to Xfinity. Suarez just got a 1-year deal, not a multi-year deal. Like there's a lot of driver movement. And over the next year or so, there are going to be some very big driver decisions that need to be made. And having your team president, I joked and called him like one of the team's founding fathers, leave the team right now seems like less than opportune timing. I feel like you'd want some stability there during what could be a tumultuous stretch coming up.
I think it's a Trackhouse plant. And not like a not in like too conspiratorial way, but I think like you think of how closely together they've worked with SVG, and that is a big asset that they are letting Colleague have. I mean, all the Cup races this year, for the most part, that SVG has gotten, I believe all of them were Colleague equipment. Whether or not that was a good thing or not, we can debate on too. But to me, Colleague is in major trouble in the sense that they have plateaued and some would say fallen completely off that cliff when it comes to their ascension. If you look at 2019, 2021, you're looking at Colleague in the same breath as Trackhouse 2311. These small young teams coming up through the ranks that are going to try and kind of almost revolutionize the way that teams are looked at in NASCAR in the top series. And now they're an also ran. They're a team that is picking up guys that are more or less paid drivers. Look at the Voyager deal, for instance.
They are for the record, they are 31st and 35th in owner points this year.
Yeah,
Colleague is.
I mean it's been rough, and they need to improve, not only just for them, but for the sake that, especially, we don't know the details yet of the charter agreement, but especially if that 3-car limit has been fully put in place, we would definitely be looking at Trackhouse not having enough room at the end for the drivers they want and the possible drivers in the future they'd have in. I'm sorry, Connor Zilisch, if he continues the trajectory he is at, and he still has a long way to go, I'm not crowning him a cup-ready driver by any means just yet. But if he's ready to go after next year, you got to put him in the 99. I don't see you getting rid of Ross Chastain. Yeah, he didn't make the playoffs this year, but he has been a top 10 caliber driver pretty much all season long. He wins almost every year. And we still have the year to, 8 races to go this year.
Really, had we not had so many weird race winners, he's probably in the playoffs this year.
Easily, I think. Easily in. Same with Buescher. But if you don't want to get rid of Suarez, you want to keep him in the family, move him over to the 16 or the 31, which will basically, if you're working closely together, be in a Trackhouse affiliated car. Get the Chevy teams working closer together the way that Toyota has with at least 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing. Try to kind of be that new kid on the block, revolutionize that side of it too, not just the outer brand. So that's my theory on this whole thing.
It makes sense, because remember the rumors at the beginning of this year of Trackhouse and Colleague are going to merge, and then Chris Rice came out and said, "No, that's not." Like, I'm doing my Chris Rice impression. That's not happening, but big things are in the works.
We're not going anywhere.
He said something along the lines of, "We are making big changes," or something's coming, and maybe that something was AJ Allmendinger back to Cup full time, which is happening, and that's pretty cool. I think that's exciting. But maybe the big thing was Ty Norris, and to your point, Jarrett, maybe there is still a loose connection to Trackhouse through this. I mean, just in the last year alone, Colleague and Trackhouse, they've loaned each other drivers like SVG. You said they also basically traded crew chiefs, if I recall. Travis Mack went to Colleague and they sent Matt Swiderski to Trackhouse. It was basically a 1-for-1 swap. So they already have a fairly tight relationship. So while I think at first glance this is concerning for Trackhouse that they've lost a longtime executive who I think is well respected and well connected throughout the industry, maybe this isn't goodbye for good. This is just, it's almost the same as farming a driver out to a satellite team. You're farming an executive out to a satellite team that you still have somewhat of a relationship with.
I just see it being more of a business partnership opportunity, more so than a merger at this point. I think they'll stay very close behind the scenes.
We'll see.
I think he's on loan almost. I think that's kind of where it is. They just can't really officially put that out there, I don't think. And then I think we saw it this past weekend. Maybe not as much with SVG at the end of the Cup race, but in the Xfinity race, and we've seen it all year, Colleague is just, they're not an elite team.
It's almost more like he's a morale coach coming in to get the business stuff better,
or at least straighten the stuff out, to get it together. I mean, Colleague right now, I think a stronger Colleague is a stronger farm system for Trackhouse, because you can only rely on JRM so much before Rick Hendrick says, "Okay, that guy looks really good. I'll take him." I think this is a long-term play on their part, and they're smart.
I'm just thinking on the fly here. The only way I would push back on this is the way Jordan Bianchi's report was worded, that it was an amicable departure. Ty Norris no longer with the team. In the past, Zane Smith is a Trackhouse driver signed with Trackhouse, but he's farmed out to Spire, for example. Same with SVG being farmed out to Colleague. So my analogy of them shipping Ty Norris to an aligned team may not be accurate when the report is suggesting he's no longer under their payroll. Maybe there is really truly no connection there anymore. So I could see it both ways. I think that your theory has legs, but there's also a very real possibility that he's just gone. Ty Norris does have a history of kind of bouncing from team to team, project to project. He doesn't typically stay in one place for super long. He's almost like a Ray Evernham type in that respect. So it could just quite frankly be he's ready to go start something new, and Colleague's a good opportunity.
Maybe Trackhouse needs to go from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you remember, before Mahomes got up to this Chiefs, they were pretty damn good with Alex Smith. People were like, why would you draft why would you replace this guy? This guy's really damn good. Then you got someone better. Maybe that's what they're banking on. You got to take that risk. Fortune favors the brave, as the Voyager car once said. But
what a tie-in, what a reference.
But I'm just saying, man. Like they're maybe they have something up their sleeve we're not thinking of.
I take away Jarrett's Chiefs like relation and go more of what Peter Strada says. Ty Norris equals modern day suitcase Jake Elder. He can be good no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
I think he's valuable. I'll put it this way. I do think as of now, this is a bigger win for Colleague, who, like you said, Jarrett desperately needs the help, than this is a loss for Trackhouse. Like this I think is a loss for Trackhouse, unless there is a bigger master plan we're not privy to. But I think Trackhouse will be fine. Colleague is the team that really needs a boost, and bringing in a long-time, well-connected executive like Ty Norris could absolutely give them that. So I think that part is what I think.
No matter what, running it's a big machine.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, there you go. Good segue. Big Machine Racing has a new driver replacing Parker Kligerman. I don't even remember if we had a chance to talk about Kligerman leaving on last week's episode. Maybe we did.
That news kind of went under my radar. I didn't even know about that.
Well, it might have come out even after the show. I don't even remember when that came out. But pretty quickly, the team has turned around and signed Nick Sanchez, Truck Series driver for Rev Racing / Spire. He's
which is a huge
Gainbridge,
improvement in my opinion.
bringing Gainbridge with them to Big Machine. Yeah, it's certainly a promotion. Trucks to Xfinity, the 48 Big Machine Chevy is a playoff contending team. Looks like Parker Kligerman will likely get them into the playoffs this season. So, no, this is exciting for Sanchez. He'll join some other Truck Series guys next year. Christian Eckes, we know, will be a rookie with Colleague in Xfinity. Daniel Dye is also joining Colleague next year. We also, of course, found out that Connor Zilisch, not a Truck Series regular per se, but another talented rookie, will be in Xfinity. We'll have some good rookie drivers in Xfinity next year. I guess, Jarrett, what's your reaction to Sanchez going to Xfinity? You think this is a good fit? Think he'll be competitive?
I feel bad because I think he's good enough to improve and go up. I hear that he's bringing the Gainbridge money, I believe.
Yeah, there's going to be an associate deal there. Yeah.
So I think the team should at least run how it's ran this year. Like I think that's the bar, because with more money involved, I think this team can get some more resources, get better people, maybe
definitely contend on super speedways of him.
Yeah. So I think that should be the bar. I think perform about how Kligerman did. Not even maybe at the start of the year, like the first 8 or 9 races, but maybe like from May on, like be comparable, maybe
by
be
spring
better.
Talladega.
Yeah. I would say that would be a good place to kind of have the litmus test. I feel bad though, because the first thing I thought of is like, Nick Sanchez got a full-time ride up there before Corey Heim.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, Corey Haim's watching Christian Eckes and Nick Sanchez, 2 of his chief rivals for the truck championship, get promoted, and he's more than likely going to be full-time trucks another year. Man.
I'm wondering, knowing Parker Kligerman's kind of, media journey he's been on, have we heard anything confirmed on who CW wants next year? Has he found a way to get with CW, I wonder?
I could absolutely see that. I mean, obviously he's tight with NBC, but no,
NASCAR Productions, I believe, is doing a lot of the work on the CW.
And that's why I'm thinking maybe it makes sense if NASCAR is overseeing a lot of CW, maybe he is doing more of that.
It's probably why we've seen like different testing with different pit reporters at different points of the truck season too, seeing like who would be good on pit road, who wouldn't. Do we need to get people poached from other networks? Maybe that is part of it. I mean, he's knowledgeable. He's knowledgeable, and he's really good behind a mic and in front of a camera.
He knows that
series
very well
more than
any of the other series, so he would make a lot of sense.
And what I would love if he's with the CW or with NASCAR Productions, like he knows all these Xfinity guys, he's raced against all of them. He could really convey those storylines, I think, more effectively than, and I've talked with Brennan Poole about this and Tommy Joe Martins about this. Like the problem with what like Fox does now is, they'll bring in Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski into the booth, but they don't know the Xfinity field, and the next week it'll be Ryan Blaney and Eric Jones. It's like, okay, so you're not the same. Color commentators aren't following the storylines week to week, month to month. It's sort of just plug and play guys who know the Xfinity series, but don't actually study it and watch it. So if they can get a guy like Parker Kligerman to truly focus on Xfinity and that just be his dedicated expertise, then I think the fans will be better off for it. I think the broadcasts will be better off for it. And I think the teams will be happier because their stories will be told more effectively.
Anything to make a series that will be available to more people than I think outside of IndyCar, any other series in America right now, I will take to make that better. Like, because between the free CW app and a channel that for all except for like I think maybe DirecTV might have some kind of dispute with them or something, but that'll probably get resolved.
DirecTV's fighting with everyone. Did they ever get the ESPN thing figured out?
They did get that settled.
Oh wow, they got that figured out quick. They felt that in their pocketbooks.
Like
Dinosaur Media.
CW's been making a move for lots of sports. I think they got NASCAR Xfinity Series, they got WWE NXT, and they got ACC football.
When I was at the Chicago street race right there on Michigan Avenue, they had a big CW sports display set up, and they had like their big sign that said CW Sports, NASCAR, ACC, and a few other kind of more niche things. But I was like, wow, okay, so they're making a push. They're really trying to put that out there.
I know they're even pushing for some mental health stuff too. So like they want to be seen like Fox, NBC, CBS. You know, they want to be seen. ABC as like, hey, this isn't just the big four. Like we have the big, like this is the big five. Like there are 5 of us here that come on your basic package that are ready to go. Like, so I mean, it's a great move. I think if it pans out well. If you're gonna go with Dinosaur Media, you might as well go for the dinosaur everyone can look at. You try and go for the T-Rex or the Triceratops, you know, not the Muttaburrasaurus. Sorry, I'm a dinosaur nerd. I'm a dinosaur nerd. Anyone who watched Walking with Dinosaurs knows the one I'm talking about. And I talk about the 99 Walking with Dinosaurs, not that crappy movie.
My favorite dinosaur growing up, I think it was called like I don't even know if it was real because the name sounds made up, but it was called like the Gigantosaurus.
Oh, Giganotosaurus?
Yeah,
so
that's how it was pronounced.
It's real. They
I love
used
that. It was from like South America.
Yep.
It was bigger than the T-Rex. I'm like, why the hell is this dude with a freaking name like Giganotosaurus not getting more play than the T-Rex? That's so cool.
You got the Giga, you got the Spino, you got T-Rex. I was always a Triceratops fan. I want to see in the chat. Let us know your favorite dinosaur.
Yeah, favorite dinosaurs, chat. What are the little dudes in Jurassic Park that spritz toxin into people's eyes?
Dilophosaur. So like actually those ones, you're gonna get me on a dinosaur
ramble. Let's do it. We're ahead of schedule and we need to stall so we can get to 450 likes. Like for the dinosaurs, chat.
Dilophosaurus actually is like really damn cool, and in real life was way bigger than in the movie. Like the movie was like they were probably about 3 times the size in real life as the movie. Badass dino.
Isn't there a real lizard like it's small but it's just like that?
So they had like the frilled like it's like almost like I can't remember what it's called, like the frilled lizard. They're like
Yoshi.
It won't spray or anything like that, but it's I think it's from Australia because of course it would be. That's kind of where they got it from. It's funny, if you watch the movie, you can actually see the fishing line they have connected to the frill that they pull it out with. If like you look close up, I watched that movie so many damn times. I can point out like all 89 or whatever it is mistakes now that are in it, and I do not care.
89.
It's kind of too bad though in that movie. Like I'm blanking on his name. The actor who played that, you know, the guy who was stealing all the secrets and stuff.
Oh,
and
Nedry?
Huh?
Nedry?
Yeah.
What's that actor's name?
I can't remember. I remember he was in so many, like he was in movies.
He was in Space Jam.
Yeah, he was in Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, what was his name? Yeah, I forgot it. Yeah, he was always.
But usually he plays like very lovable characters, and that one is like, yeah, you deserved every bit of that.
Yeah,
I like the death chat. In the book is even worse.
Somebody in the chat, someone said Yoshi is their favorite dinosaur. And yes, G, a NASCAR fan, I know about the iguanodon. That is our dino.
We got a Utah Raptor stand.
Barney.
Wayne Knight, thank you. Gosh, cannot believe I forgot his name.
Great name.
Yeah, it's a good name.
You got a Utah Raptor stage stand. Name? I like that.
Someone said Dinoco is their favorite.
God,
that's good. All right, we can move on.
Because you will get me. You will get me talking about dinosaurs for hours. Like we will go until YouTube stream limit if we have me talking.
I can believe it.
Jared could talk so long about dinosaurs that dinosaurs would come back.
So I like when we all
Hey.
have our little things. Jarrett with his dinosaurs, Danny with his Tennessee Volunteers, and me with fried chicken.
You,
Yes.
you know, dinosaurs are actually still alive, though, right? Birds.
Whoa.
Birds.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
birds are. Or someone in the chat said the bald eagle is their favorite
I
dinosaur.
mean,
Does that
I
count?
believe
That counts.
Okay.
crocodiles and alligators probably been around as long as them too, probably.
I think they're related.
Cockroaches have been around since the dawn of time.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, just look up the Carboniferous period if you want. If you're scared of creepy crawlies, that will get you. When you have like 6-foot dragonflies and 10-foot millipedes and just nasty stuffs. Lots of oxygen in the air at that time. That's why. Again, I will go on this forever. So let's talk about contract extensions, guys. Well, let's go
Bubba
from
Wallace.
Yeah.
All right, what dinosaur is getting extended?
Well, that sounds interesting.
the man who is sponsored by the Chickenosaurus. You know, chicken
Bubba-
nuggets.
McNuggets.
Yeah, made of Chickenosaurus.
Side note, I see little Cosmos back there. Looks like he's doing something.
Oh, he's bored. He's digging into the carpet. Oh yeah, he is on camera.
boy?
He's saying, yeah, if he can't hear you, are you bored? He's so bored. For some reason, I always end up alone with him on Wednesday nights during the stream. So he just is like chilling. Like, why are you talking to that lit up box?
What's
and
that on
not
the
talking
floor
to me?
by him? Is that like a toy or something? What is
It's
that?
one of his little bones. He's not super interested in it at the
Hold on.
moment.
The chat can't see this because I have the ticker in the way. So there.
Oh,
That's
no.
there. It is.
That little black blob is him. He's just looking at me with big eyes.
He
You
was
wanna come say
moving
hi?
around a few minutes ago, so
You
y'all
wanna come
missed
say hi,
out.
bud? Come here.
Meanwhile, Ret Boy is sleeping out there by the door, more than likely. Tell you what, Danny, you get sick. Show goes off the rail. You're the Danny's voice is the glue that has held this show together for 7 years.
Yeah, we're like on not even duct tape. It's like painter's tape tonight.
By the way, we're 94 likes away from the like goal. So I'm going to put that in the chat. We are in the double digits. All right, but yeah, Bubba Wallace getting his contract extended with 2311 for at least 2 years, multi-year extension. I think they said even long-term, so it could be longer than that. What are we thinking? Because I think that this is the right move for both sides right now.
Yeah, I think.
mean,
Go ahead, Danny.
I know Reddick is probably a better driver than Bubba, but he is your flagship driver. There's a lot of, love from Michael Jordan to him. There's a lot of, love from Hamlin to him now. Might not it used to be, but there is now. He is your flagship driver. When you think to 23, that's the flagship number. You think Bubba now. It makes sense to keep him there.
Yeah, and obviously he's not as good as Tyler Reddick. That whole team is not quite as put together as the 45 team is, but Bubba statistically has gotten better in most categories every single season. And I think if they continue at that trajectory, they will be perennial playoff contenders probably starting next year.
I do kind of agree with Snappy 452. I know they like each other, and I know he's had a good long career, probably longer than most people would have expected him to have. But I do think it's time to move on from Booty Barker. I think they need to find him a new crew chief. I think if he could get just a little bit better person up on the crew box, I think they could go a little bit further.
Yeah, I don't follow their races closely enough every week to know if he's good at managing track position. I do feel they don't
how many times
often
have we
make the
seen
car
Bubba
better.
seemingly screwed over by his pit crew?
Well, yeah, that especially early in the year, that was a problem for both 2311 cars. I just don't know, is he good at managing track position? Are they don't always seem to get better throughout the race. They'll start up front, maybe fall back to 5th and 8th and 10th and finish 12th. I can't tell if Booty Barker's a problem or if that's partially Bubba not being as good at communicating. If you're a big Bubba fan, let me know how you feel about Booty Barker, because I can't get a clear consensus.
I think, though, this is the right move for a couple of reasons. For one, if you just want to think of bottom line reasons, Bubba Wallace brings in sponsorship. Doesn't matter who it is, that sponsorship comes in, and it's not only shared with the 23 team, but you see a lot of that sponsorship end up going to the 45 team. Bubba, for better or worse, don't care really what you think of him. Bubba Wallace is somebody who's also known outside of the NASCAR bubble. And for that reason, he's going to bring in eyes, whether it's positive or negative. Doesn't matter. Eyes are eyes. They get brought in. They put up numbers, things like that. But on the other end, just performance-wise, he was, just like Buescher, a top 10, top 12, same with Chastain, top 10, top 12 kind of guy this year who kind of got screwed over by just the amount of winners that we had that otherwise had terrible seasons. His statistics so far, he has matched top 5s and top 10s, I believe, with the last 2 seasons with 8 races remaining, with his best track on the gauntlet coming up at Kansas, as well as Talladega still to go. So my what I lead to with that is there's the improvement. You have stable ground now to build on with the extension, but who would be a free agent that realistically would leave their team that would be a better option? The only one I can think of right now after 2025, because you can't really do it after this year because it's all dried up for the most part. After 2025, the only one I can realistically see, I don't see Cindric leaving. I don't see Austin Dillon leaving as much as people are asking for it. I don't see Ross Chastain leaving. The only one realistically I can look at is Kyle Busch. And at that point, Kyle Busch is going to be, 41 going on 42? Not getting any younger, not getting any better as a driver. The age cliff is fast approaching, if not behind already. So at that point, why would you move on and crater the 23 team when holding steady for now could equal top 10, top 8 points position kind of guy if the improvement continues?
Yeah, I think for all the reasons, Bubba is a net asset, a net positive to that team specifically. I think he would be for most teams, but to your point, Jarrett, I mean, even if this year there's nobody, but even next year, unless you think, Corey Haim is ready to make that leap, but Haim does not come with the sponsorship and the notoriety Bubba Wallace does. So, I think overall he is a positive for that team. So, getting it done for at least a couple of years is good. I'm more interested in what this maybe says about the charter agreement, because 2 weeks ago, Bubba said, yeah, I'm frustrated. Can't get a deal done because it's linked to the charter negotiations. And now all of a sudden, 2 weeks after 2311 holds out, we get a deal done. So does that mean the charter deal's also done? Are they going to sign? Are they trying? My other theory maybe is this is their way of showing that, hey, we're here for the long haul. We're playing ball for when they take NASCAR to court or try to take NASCAR to court. What is there? What changed in the last 2 weeks?
I think
because on the surface, it looks like nothing. It looks like things are as bad as they've ever been. So for him to suddenly get signed tells me something changed behind the scenes. I just want to know what that is.
I think it's one of two things with that. It's either, A, kumbaya, we're all getting better and, we're just figuring out the little last details. We know it's going to get signed. We lost, you win NASCAR. Or Bubba Wallace being somebody who is one of the few drivers that can bring notoriety from outside of the NASCAR bubble, similar to the way Michael Jordan can with that influence, is one of the few assets that 2311 would have left to try and throw a last-ditch effort of hey, you don't get us, you don't get Bubba Wallace and his numbers that could come in, you don't get Michael Jordan and all that. Those are two options. I think I'm leaning more towards the posturing is just about over and 2311 is going to give up the fight and sign. But I
wonder if they do that. If in the next week it's announced, yeah, we signed or we came to an agreement. How do you spin that if you're 2311? You've been so staunchly against the charter negotiation process for months, if not years now. And to just sort of I don't know if I can see a scenario.
Talk about it. You just move on. That's the best thing they can do, honestly.
But someone's going to report, hey, 2311 signed. So Denny's going to be asked in the media center. Jordan's going to be asked by NBC. Curtis Polk is going to wear another piece of thing on his clothing. I just, how do you spin it? And because that's this whole time 2311's been fighting through the media. Their whole thing has been, how do they spin? How do they control the narrative to the best of their ability? So how would you control the narrative if you lose? You know what I mean? That's the only reason I think they might still go nuclear and really push. And this is just their way of saying, look, we built a building. We're trying to buy a third charter. We're signing our franchise player long-term, but NASCAR doesn't value us. What do you think, jury? That could be what this is, but I just still don't think anyone really knows. I'm just trying to come up with different theories that could be accurate.
If you're going to use the media and use public influence as one of your big pushes, then be honest. Use it. This half-assed, oh, I'm going to put a piece of paper on my back, or I'm just going to speak in code. Like, that doesn't move the needle. I don't care. I look at it and think, oh, that's stupid. Or, oh, I'm going to listen to Denny's podcast, talk about charter within the first 2 minutes. We're not going to talk about the charter stuff. It's like, that's the whole reason I'm listening to this damn podcast tonight. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to be the team that uses the media, that tries to shake stuff up and be different and speak out against NASCAR, speak out against NASCAR, damn it. Do it. Don't just give me this stupid posturing, because all it does is make me feel like you're just like any other team, which at this point, if they sign, they are. They're just like any other team at that point.
But that's why they don't want to sign us. They're like, we've branded ourselves this one way. We fought the good fight all this time. We can't just sign. We can't just fall in line. We have to do something. Even if ultimately they do come to some sort of agreement, I don't think the escalation is completely over yet, because I don't know. I don't want to just
can down the road.
I don't want to speak in hypotheticals, but immediately, like, Bubba signs extension, I'm like, cool, good for him. Good fit, makes sense. But immediately I was like, what does this say about the charters? Is there anything we could read about into the charter about this? Because that is the bigger picture, bigger deal, I feel.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make a prediction about it.
Yeah, it's time for the famous accountability session / prediction segment. Not a very catchy name. We'll work on that.
Which side note, I'm starting to think that we probably should have said 425 on the like goal, because we're still.
If we can get to 425, we can get to 450. Come on. Like,
we don't even have 450 watching. Come on, guys.
We got this, y'all. You got this.
Send
We'll
it-
pull a rabbit out of our hat.
Send it to everyone. So predictions, each of us hosts will make up to 3 NASCAR, motorsport, or show-related
Oh, here it is.
predictions. We will keep track each week of the right and wrong answers, and we'll keep them concise, usually within 2 to 3 years. We can have a little wiggle room, but as long as we can keep it kind of quantifiable, I mean. My end, nothing came off the board this week for me. Yay. Eric, 2-2 this week. You said that I would stump the panel on the Random Driver of the Week segment at least 2 more times as of that prediction. I now have. You also said Connor Zilisch would finish top 10 in the Xfinity Watkins Glen race. I think
I
he did.
lowballed it. Damn.
You also said all 4 Hendrick cars would finish in the top 10 this
That went
past
horribly
week.
wrong. What happened to that Hendrick Watkins Glen dominance, y'all?
Playoffs and strategies. Maybe. NBC, you said, would show the jet dryer incident. If someone can correct me, let me
No, I
know.
never saw it.
I did not see it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch every bit of qualifying and practice, but yeah. I didn't see
Usually
it.
people tag me on Twitter.
I figured there was about a 30% chance they would. Just because, Fox owns that footage, for one. And 2, it's like, you're trying to celebrate this guy being in NASCAR. Are you really going to show a low light? But I figured there was a shot. I figured it'd be wild if they did.
And Danny, I'm just going to warn everyone before I switch to his screen here. I had to actually minimize the font a little bit to get them all on.
Oh my God.
It was a rough week for Danny B.
Oh, no.
You said
It's
Joseph.
literally the roughest it's ever been. You hear my voice and
Yeah.
then this.
0-5 here. You said that
Oh my God.
you said that Joseph Newgarden would win the IndyCar finale. I believe Colton Herta did that.
To be fair, that felt like a good one at the time.
It really did. Michael McDowell, you said, would lead 10 laps or more at Watkins Glen. He led 7. You said that
That's actually closer than what it probably should have been.
You said when Pablo Montoya would score a top 15 at the Glen. Yeah, he was not on the lead lap. You said all 3 of our NFL teams, Texans, Titans, and Vikings, would win their week 2 games. Texans and Vikings got it done. Titans, they have Will Levis at quarterback. And you said the IndyCar finale at Nashville would not happen on Sunday. The entire race was run on time. So looking at the prediction percentages here, I'm still leading with a flat 45%. Eric's up to 33.78. And Danny, you were at 27.54 on the year. It was a rough one. So time for redemption. But we'll start with me on this one. I'll make a long-term one. I think Connor Zilisch will score a pole in one of his first 10 Cup starts when he gets to Cup.
That is a long-term one. So you're predicting he gets to Cup in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's reasonable, actually. Am I second?
Yes.
Okay, I'll stick with the Zilisch pick as well. He's been the talk of the town all week. I think both Connor Zilisch and Corey Day finish top 10 in the truck race tomorrow night?
Danny.
I'm gonna go all in on the Bristol Xfinity race this weekend. Dale Jr. will lead at least 5 laps at Bristol.
I could see it.
You know what? I'm gonna go for it here. 2311 will take NASCAR to court over the charters in some way.
Okay.
Over the charters or just in some way.
Does it have to be like they file something, or can it be like a judge or somebody has to actually take it up and there actually has to like be a case?
I think they'll file something. If the courts throw it out, it went to the court to get thrown out.
Okay.
But I think they will take some
Gotcha.
sort of legal action.
They will attempt at the very least to take this to take legal action.
Yeah,
okay.
They will attempt to take legal action against NASCAR.
My next two are both overtime related. I'll go with the less funny one first. There have been 12 cup races this year that have ended with at least one overtime attempt. I think we get to 16 by the end of the season. So basically, I could just have summarized 4 of the final 8 races will at least have an overtime finish.
Damn.
In honor of his number, Dale Jr. will finish top 8 this weekend.
Danny's
I like
going
it.
all in on the Dale Jr. ones.
I respect it. This is a big weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, Cosmo stole one of my hats. This is a crisis.
Oh no.
Come back. Come here, Cosmo. Come here.
Well, as Eric gets in search of one of his hats, there he goes. I will give my last prediction here, and I will do a truck prediction, but not for this year. So every truck race will be on one of the Fox Sports networks. I think there will only be one or less truck races on Big Fox next year. They don't have Xfinity. They usually put 1 or 2 Xfinity races on Big Fox and then 1 truck race. I think they'll put 1 or 0 on Big Fox for next year. I think Fox Sports overall is so checked out on NASCAR. It is literally just a ratings grab at the start of the year in the Daytona 500. I think that they do not care. And they're just like, oh, it's a truck race. Just throw it on an empty slot in FS1 or FS2.
All right, I want to hear Cosmo's prediction.
He's biting my finger right now. I don't know if you can see it. He's going to town on my hand. My final prediction, I said there's going to be a lot of overtimes this year. I don't think it's going to be this weekend, though. I think CJ Stroud will throw more touchdown passes against Jarrett's Minnesota Vikings this weekend than there are overtime attempts across the entire.
Oh, we lost him.
I struck him down. No, I'm kidding. He was struck down by Odin. His stream went to Valhalla.
I think he was going to say that CJ Stroud will throw more touchdowns this weekend than there will be overtime finishes this weekend across the 3 series. I think that's what he was saying.
I'm gonna laugh if the truck race goes into like quintuple overtime. I'm gonna be like 5 touchdowns, eh? In the truck race alone. Okay, well more than 5. You know.
So Eric's internet chose when I'm at my weakest to go out to where I have to talk more again.
Well, I think you got the last pick here.
I'll go ahead and say mine. JRM will go to victory lane in the Xfinity race.
Ooh. I think that's a really good one because JRM has been really, really solid at Bristol. Eric will be back on in a moment. He was waving by, as says Wyatt in the chat.
So, I've got Dale Jr. leading at least 5 laps. I've got Dale Jr. finishing top 8. I've got JRM going victory lane. It doesn't have to be Dale Jr. It can be JRM.
That's a good pick.
Am I back? Can y'all hear me?
You are back.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell just happened.
So
I could hear you guys almost the entire time, but then my whole computer went black for 5 seconds, and then it just booted back up, and all of a sudden y'all are still here, and I'm like, what?
Eric, what if it
just
wasn't?
happened?
really weird.
What if it
you
wasn't
were gone on our end?
Yeah, you were just like that. But what if it wasn't the internet the whole time? What if it's been your computer the whole time?
Maybe that was weird. That wasn't internet. That was computer did a weird half-ass reboot on me, but I could still hear y'all even though I couldn't see you.
So did I get it right? Did I get your prediction right? What you were trying to say?
I think so. I said CJ Stroud will throw more touchdown passes against Jarrett's Vikings than there are overtime attempts across the entire Bristol weekend.
And so you probably heard me when I said I'm gonna laugh if like the truck race goes into like quintuple overtimes.
CJ's up for it. Ride or die.
We'll see.
Well, the good thing is you'll have that number before they ever even play on Sunday. So
I guess
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, I'll know what the quota should be. Yeah, that's a good point.
You'll be like, all right, CJ, 12 touchdowns today,
Let's do
NFL
it.
record time.
Let's run it. If
Oh,
anyone
man.
can, CJ can.
50 to go, by the
No,
way.
to the person who asked, it's not including ARCA, just trucks, Xfinity, and Cup.
Yeah, because ARCA doesn't do overtime, do they? I don't think they
I
do.
don't think so.
So it'll be Trucks Xfinity Cup.
I know they do one lap shootouts at times.
Yes, that has come up.
We got 50 likes to go, by the way.
Oh boy.
We've
Do
crossed
we want to just
the 400. Well, no, we have 44. There, we have crossed the threshold.
do we want to do the Bristol preview and then wrap up with random driver?
I think we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Since
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good, can I give him 430 and be generous?
That's your call, Jared. I'm fine with it.
Sure.
I'll give
I
him
mean-
430. That seems more doable.
At that rate, I think we can just wait him out here.
Milk it. Cosmo, do you want to pitch to the people why we should do random driver of the week? He's just licking my hand. I don't know what
All right. So now we got 22 to go.
All right.
So
Like the stream or the dog dies.
Oh, hello.
Have you-
That's the way to get demonetized.
Like the stream.
have you seen
like it?
Have you seen the sequel to the Puss in Boots movie, The Last Wish, where it's John Mulaney plays the villain? It's like, well, you're not gonna shoot a dog. You're not gonna shoot a puppy, are you, Jack? Yeah, in the face. Why?
Yeah.
Best delivery of a line in the entire movie. I love that
It is
movie, by
good.
the way.
is a
That
good
is a
movie.
great movie.
This dog has no idea how much danger he's truly in right now. You're lucky you're not Denny Hamlin's dog. He'd be getting rid of you right now. He'd be putting you in a box.
and floating him after a van next to the river. Are we there yet?
No. That's why I said I think 430 is more generous for him.
Come on, guys. I can only stall for so long before the people listening on the audio end are like, yep, I'm done. I guarantee there's a bunch of them on the audio end that are just like, God, can these people
Think
just
of
hit
the
it?
listeners.
Think of the children. Wait for it.
They
What are
need
we at?
11 more.
Mine keeps freezing up, so I have no idea what number we're at.
Yeah,
Okay, 11.
I have no idea where we're at.
All right.
Where are we,
Okay,
Danny?
we're at 423, so 7 more.
Cool. I'm just going to get it ready now while I'm thinking about it. By the way, I got all the facts this week on one side.
Whoa.
Not I don't have to flip it over or anything the entire damn time.
430 likes and Eric adopts Lulu. Would you like a friend, Cosmo? By like 7 times your size?
Okay, y'all just need 4 more. Come on. It's like pulling teeth.
Let's get it. Let's
Okay,
run
there it is.
it.
There's 430.
Yeah.
All right, hide it on. Hide it all.
All right, get out of here, chat.
This is
See you in a few.
the random driver of the week.
Driver of the week. Week.
Random dancing.
Of the week.
Okay, so for this one, of course, the co-host with me will hide the chat so they're not given the answers. Danny is currently leading Eric 11-10 on the year. Close battle. We got close battles outside the prediction percentages. We have close battles on all fronts.
That's a good teaser for later.
Eric has not gotten one right since 5 or 4 weeks ago, give or take. 5 weeks ago with Corey Heim.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was in such a slump.
Yes, and I have bookended the two with Danny. Danny got Travis Quapple and Cody Ware. I was the one who managed to get you guys on Bill Rexford a couple weeks ago, the Forgotten Champion. And last week I got you guys on Jerry Glanville. So let's get rolling here.
Please be easier than Jerry Glanville.
Yeah, we would have never got
Yeah,
that.
that was a lost cause.
This random driver is a native of Antioch, Tennessee. It's right down the road from Danny and I.
Okay. That's unfair. This is home
Rigged.
field advantage. What
But
happened to
no
neutral
one
site?
really thinks about Antioch. It's kind of one of those places you don't want to go to Antioch. So
Yeah, it's
But
no
that
one
you
likes
know
it.
that is an advantage. I've never heard of this town.
that means he came from the hood, Eric.
Okay. Okay.
Was he one of the many people playing Many Men this past week? I don't know if you saw after the Vikings won, they all were like singing that song. I love it. This random driver won the pole in his second Xfinity Series start. Very early on. This random driver was 17 years old when he did this. Got a youngster. A young youngster. Already got a Taylor Swift guess.
Has the chat already got it?
Maybe. This
No way.
random driver had a career high of an 8th place finish in Xfinity points.
Okay. That's not bad. It's okay.
This random driver's first pole came at his home track, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
Okay.
This is an older driver.
Yes, it's a little while ago, not super recent.
This random driver actually turned down an offer from Richard Childress to drive the AC Delco car. He was the first choice over Kevin Harvick.
Wow, they dropped the ball big time. They could have been the Earnhardt replacement.
Oh, would have been, yes.
Mm.
This random driver turned down this
Hint.
ride during this time because of his extreme shyness and pretty evident anxiety. One of the mechanics for this random driver's Xfinity team he did drive for was Jason Ratcliffe.
Ratcliffe, my man. What's he doing now? Is he still in Xfinity?
I haven't paid attention enough to know.
Yeah, I forgot.
This random driver made 75 career Cup starts. By the way, we're in the second half of the clues already.
I think I feel pretty good about it. Has the chat gotten it? I bet
Yeah.
they've gotten it.
Yeah, they got it.
Oh, it's like is it unanimous?
Mostly.
Okay. Well,
I
good
feel
job,
like
chat.
I'm close, but honestly, I can't think of their name right now.
This random driver DNF'd in 16% of his Cup starts.
But that's not a very helpful. That doesn't help much.
And finished lead lap in only 20% of his Cup starts.
That is helpful.
This random driver was first sponsored in Cup by Motorola.
Oh, we should know this.
This random driver says his biggest regret from his time in racing was not moving to the Charlotte area and being a slacker, not putting the work in.
That shyness. Oh, that's such a giveaway. Who is that? It's not. Why did I think Carrie Earnhardt? That's obviously not it. Why?
We already did Carrier and Hart this
Yeah.
year. This random driver's only major interview since retiring on screen was the Dale Jr. download.
Okay. I think I know who it is. I'm gonna wait for one more clue because I don't think Danny's that close.
This random driver
No,
was
the Motorola's throwing me off.
this random driver
Yeah.
was the first Cup driver to crash out of a race at Kansas.
Would that have been like 01? 02? When did Kansas open?
Around the same time as Chicagoland.
So 01.
This random driver was out of NASCAR by the age of 26.
This is what's his face. I think it's Casey Atwood.
Is that your guess?
Think so.
Mhm.
Because I think I remember him talking. I remember that Dale Jr. download episode.
Eric
Is
got
that it? All right. I don't know much
It's
about
tied
Casey Atwood. The shyness, that whole like his character, that personality thing. I'm like, that stood out to me a little.
So
Yeah, the Motorola's throwing me off because for some reason I'm thinking Motorola being on the 31, but I think I'm getting it confused for
that was singular.
another. Yeah.
Singular.
So
Oh,
there were a couple others. I didn't realize that he was actually the driver that was used to promote Mountain Dew's new flavor at the time, Mountain Dew Livewire in 2003. It was an orange Mountain Dew flavor. Since has been discontinued, except I think in the Middle East actually. Other than that, it was pretty easy ones from there that we all know. Other than just
I don't know a ton about Casey Howard because he was really just before I started watching. So I
labeled
remember
as
watching
the next
Dale
Jeff
Jr.
Gordon.
Yeah, I remember he was obviously very hyped up. And I remember watching at least most or part of that Dale Jr. episode. But I haven't retained much. I don't have any real memories of watching him race. I can't even really picture his car super clearly.
I'll tell you, I rewatched it because it's on YouTube. It's a depressing ass episode, man. Like
in the chat
you can tell within the first 5-6 words on that episode that he talks about, he's like, he only did the interview because it was Dale Jr. and you could tell like he did not want to be there. He like, you could tell as soon as it started, he was like, I made a huge mistake in doing this, because it's like he's like, just from the way he talks about it and his body language and the fact that the entire time I felt so bad for him, he's like shaking like this. You can, if you watch his hand on the table, he's just shaking.
Because how old is he now? He's like in his 40s,
he's
probably
like 43 or 44. Like
Do we know what he's doing today?
That's
he races every now and then at the fairgrounds, but other than that, he keeps it his life private. He did say another thing is that he's kind of upset that his kids never got to see him race at a high level.
Probably just working like a regular job or something like that.
What was his final year really in NASCAR? Like 06?
06, yeah. 06.
That's what I would guess around there probably.
It was really, I mean, full time, it was really, I think, like 03.
Yeah,
like
you're probably
Xfinity.
right. That's what I'm saying. I knew it was like right. Like I remember seeing him, I think, in some of the video games back then, but like I don't remember watching him race like at all, like as a kid.
So he got fired right after the Talladega race in 01. And then right after that, like things started to click, and he was like, he won a pole, he led a bunch of laps at Homestead, or like ran for the win at Homestead, led a bunch of laps at Phoenix. Like it was actually starting to click. Like his team went, like in the last like 6-7 weeks of that year, went from like 35th in points to like almost top 25. And like it was clear the 19 team was starting to pick up the pace a bit, but he was already fired at that point. Just one of the biggest woulda, coulda, shoulda drivers in recent memory. But
yeah, I believe that.
Casey
Interesting guy.
Atwood.
All right. I'm back on the board. You hear that, Cosmo? He's asleep in my arms.
All he needed to be told was that he hasn't done it in 5 weeks.
Clutched it.
And this week we got Bristol.
Yeah, Bristol. I can do this to save Danny's
Yeah, this
voice.
is usually a mouthful to say all this. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, so let me pull it up. All right. So we have a triple, really a quadruple header if you include the ARCA race, but we're focusing on the NASCAR branded events. Some notes: Dale Jr. is driving the 88 in the Xfinity race. Some wonder if this will be his final Xfinity start. He suggested perhaps this could be it. We'll see. This is also the first Xfinity race. Oh, he's awake on the CW. So check your local listings. If you have an antenna, you get the CW. Just got to figure out how to find it, I guess. This is also the Xfinity Series' final regular season race, the final cutoff race for the round of 16 for Cup, and for trucks, I think it's the middle of the round of 10, right? I don't even know. Let's start with the truck race.
It's crazy how off all the playoffs are this time of year.
Yeah, it takes a few weeks and then they get back in sync more or less. The UNOH 300 is Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on FS1. It's a 200 lap race. 55, 55, 90 are the stage breakdowns. Temperatures, am I reading that right? Does that say 59 degrees?
That night, yeah, it'll get down to 59.
Wow. That sounds pretty cool. 38% chance of rain. The Xfinity. Oh, who's the defending winner? I gotta scroll. Corey Heim. I could have probably guessed that. The Xfinity Series race is the Food City 300. That will be Friday at 7:30 on the CW. It is a 300 lap race. 85, 85, 130 is the breakdown. Radio will be the Performance Racing Network. 64 degrees, only a 13% chance of rain. Very specific number. Justin Allgaier is the defending Bristol night race winner. And then for the actual Bristol night race, the Cup race is the Bass Pro Shops night race. It will be 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on USA Network Saturday night. PRN has the radio coverage. It is a 500 lap race. 125, 250 is the stage breakdowns. 13% chance of rain as well. Weather looks pretty ding dang darn good. Jarrett, you want to throw up the pick points? Because it's as tight as it's ever been.
Let's go. Yeah, so chat's still leading just because Xfinity went well for them, but Cup went very well for the rest of us. Eric's only 1 point back. I made up a point. I'm only 4 back now. And Danny, the big gainer in this race, only 11 points out. You know, a couple weeks ago, I think all of us were almost 30 points out apiece. It's looking like it's over. Almost a full weekend's worth of points we could get. Now, closest battle ever. Forever.
I can taste that lead.
Wasn't I like 200 points back this time last year?
200
something. Yeah, I think at one point you got 200 points back. It was absolutely insane.
All right. So we got to make our Bristol picks. Do we want to start with the truck win?
Yeah, Danny's first on this one.
Okay.
Give me the sweep, Christian Eckes.
I'm going to go with the guy who's the hot hand on these shorter tracks now. He's been getting better and better. I'm going Ty Majeski.
Yeah, I'll take my top 2 picks. Shoot. I haven't loved him at short tracks recently, but I feel like I risk leaving a lot of points on the table if I don't pick Corey Heim. So I'll go Heim. I think he at least finishes top 5. I can count on that. And
the chat has all of their picks taken. So
yeah, I mean, those 3 I knew would go off the board first. 7. Who's in the? Oh, Zilisch. They're going to go Zilisch. They're buying it.
Yeah,
All
I don't
right.
blame him. That's the next best one for me, I'd say.
Yeah, he's in the picture. Although he didn't run super great at Richmond a couple months ago. I know it's very different. That's maybe more of a technical tire saving track. I mean, I guess Bristol tire wear. Where you going, bud? You want to get down? He's drooling on my arm. All right. Dude, move on to the Xfinity race.
Yes.
Give me back-to-back years, Justin Allgaier. I did say JRM would go to Victor Lane. Didn't say it would be Dale Jr.
That was my first one. I'm going to do it. Guys, I'm going to do it. Might never get to do this again. Dale Earnhardt Jr., baby. Let's do it. Plus, let's be honest. Like, you know, your favorite comes back. You want him. You want him to. And I need the race last year to be avenged.
This is realistically your last chance unless we start predicting car super late model races.
Yeah, and that we're not doing that.
Dang. Okay. Shoot. I was really hoping one of those 2 would be available. I was legit thinking about picking Dale Earnhardt Jr. I will go. I didn't even plan a third one. I'm going to go with Chandler. Take Chandler Smith. JGR has been good at short tracks.
That's fine to check because they're taking Cole Custer.
Y'all can have him. I really wanted Allgaier. I was really hoping you guys would let him slip by.
I was gonna.
So
Allgaier was my number 1. As soon as Danny said it, I'm like, all right, this is the world I'm living in now.
Cup Series suck pick.
I actually feel really good that I could take the lead this weekend with what I have lined up so far.
Yeah, man, he's using that first pick to his advantage. He's taking full control. Suck pick for the Cup race.
Austin Cindric.
Danny Cindric. Ooh, do you think he falls out of the playoffs, or do you think he hangs on?
I think he's got enough gap, but I think he'll do really bad.
Oof. Okay. All right.
I went out on a limb on my Xfinity pick. I'm gonna be chalk on this one. Harrison Burton, playoff guy, so I can choose him.
I think most likely to run into trouble of those guys above the cut line, I feel is like a Daniel Suarez. I could see some goofy, funny business happening, so I'll go him. I think he might still make it, but he's going to be one of those guys, like I said earlier, who will be sweating most of the night.
Chat's going with me.
Fair enough. Where you at, buddy?
So dark horse. Who's the dark horse, Denny?
I think he may legitimately leave this round in the top 4 because he got a top 4 here last time. Alex Bowman.
That's a good pick.
I'm going to go with somebody who's not in the playoffs. I think that he's not going to have a flat tire if he's running in the top 10 this time, possibly top 5. Carson Hocevar. I could realistically see that 77 car competing in the top 5.
I like it. I'll go also outside the playoffs. I thought about going in the playoffs, but that's kind of not really an underdog. I'll go with Josh Berry. He had showed some flash. Did he qualify on the pole here in the spring?
He didn't. He led a good portion of the start of it.
Yeah, I don't even. He'll probably fall off as it gets dark, but yeah, I'll go with Barry.
I like how impressionable the chat is because when I said 77, they went 77. Now they're going Barry.
The chat's
Hmm.
also going with Barry, and I'm shocked no one is taking KFB, one of the most winningest drivers ever at Bristol.
I don't trust him in RCR equipment here. He's got to prove it to me.
They have been a little faster lately. I wouldn't rule it out.
All right. We got one more left, guys. Who's going to win at Bristol in the cup race? Danny.
Dennis Hamlin.
All right. You took my number 2 pick. You left me my number 1. I've been preaching this for weeks, maybe months at this point.
Wait, can I guess? Can I guess?
I kind of want to say it just because I'm
Okay,
like,
go ahead,
I
go
want
ahead.
the payoff. Ty Gibbs.
Yep, that was my guess.
Ty Gibbs. I
I
think
debated between Denny and Ty Gibbs, but I felt like there's more pressure on Denny right now.
I got Gibby.
I think it's going to have to be a veteran driver. This guy's been very good at Bristol, even with all the tire wear in the spring. I think he still finished 5th. Kyle Larson.
You just sniped the chat.
Oh no, did they really?
Yeah, they
Yep,
were
they
going.
were all in.
The chat's all over the place. I mean, there are a lot of 5s, but there's a lot of other numbers too.
Oh, I'm starting to see 8s.
Oh my God, are they gonna do it?
Do it. Go with Kyle Busch.
Because they're sporadic, but the 8 is the only consistent one I've seen.
I'm seeing 8 and 20 as the most consistent so far.
I would agree. It's probably 8 or
I'm starting
20.
to see more 8s than 20.
Oh, but then there's a lot of 20s. Oh, it's
I'm gonna just have
tight.
to
It's
pull
8.
them. I
You
gotta
got
pull
no.
them.
I think you got to pull. I saw 420s in a row. Wow,
420s.
420s in a
One
row, but at one point, I think it's between Busch or Bell.
All right, what we got here?
This
What
is
we
going to be
got?
really interesting.
Oh my God.
The reason I didn't go with Gibbs, I thought about making my dark horse is because he did lead like 100 laps here in the spring, but on the long run, he and Bell fell off while the veterans held on. That's my only concern. I don't think the fall off will be as bad this time
Yeah.
around, so maybe that'll play to your strengths, but that makes me a little concerned.
Okay, the poll is making me feel a little bit more confident in the chat.
Oh, come on, chat. Have some fun for once.
I'm gonna laugh if they choose Bell and like it turns out Kyle Busch actually has like vintage.
Oh, Kyle Busch will probably
night.
win this race if they don't pick him.
Is David Bell just like botting the poll right now? Come on. Well, it looks like they've made their decision.
Yeah, that's a runaway.
So this
20
week-
is their answer.
So this weekend, Danny has Hamlin, Allgaier, Eckes. I have Gibbs, Dale Jr., and Majeski, Larson, Chandler Smith, and Heim for Eric, and Bell, Custer, Zilisch for the chat. I'm sorry, reading out that line of mine, Gibbs, Dale Jr., Majeski. Like Dale Jr.'s the odd one out. He
will say,
shouldn't
like,
fit in that.
On paper, mine reads like I should sweep and leapfrog everyone by leaps and bounds, but it probably won't happen.
I
Because
feel
you
like
picked last year.
Jarrett's is concerning, I think. But watch him shock us all.
Hey, I've done it a couple times this year where it's like, man, there's people that like, oh, I don't know if that'll work, and it has. Like the last one I can think where I went on a limb and it failed for me was picking Briscoe at Martinsville, and he still finished like 8th or 9th.
I had Ty Gibbs winning Watkins Glen, and it didn't work for me. Maybe you'll have better luck.
You kept it even with the chat though with it.
Somehow,
'Cause
because my Xfinity pick sucked too. So
Yeah,
chat, y'all really blew it.
We lost. Well, they picked Byron. We all lost points. I think maybe outside of Danny with the. I don't have it on me. With last week, so tight. It's tight.
like I look like big brain move picking Michael McDowell last week, honestly.
I'm telling you, I don't know if it's this weekend, but one of the triple header weekends is going to eliminate one of us out of this thing. Like we're gonna crash and burn, or somebody's gonna sweep or something.
It could be this one because on paper mine looks so good, but watch it go so bad.
It's this one and Talladega that worry me. Like if
I'm
it's
so excited for next week's show. It's on my channel too. I'm celebrating a huge lead.
Like if I come out of this weekend minus 25 or minus 30, I've just had a collapse no one ever would have saw coming.
But the thing is, like, if we're all close after Talladega, I genuinely feel good about my chances the rest of the way. Like at that point, you almost want to hang back, like you're in the draft and be that 3rd or 4th guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be leading this 3 races left in the season.
It's compelling.
Good point.
It's compelling. All right. Well, Danny, I think you got one more NPR super chat stage break here to talk
Yep.
like this, like your Jim Nance calling golf.
Buckled down of me. I feel like maybe my voice has gotten better since we started. I don't know.
It has.
Loosen it up.
Let's see. Where did I leave off on? Okay, here we go. Shorty PJM, appreciate the $5.23. Folks that don't deserve to be here found screaming, crying, burning, and popping vessels in pain at Bubba Wallace, staying for many years. Hashtag we cheer.
I like that hashtag. Gosh, that was graphic.
Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate the $9.99 from me, man. Remember when NASCAR did double headers in 2020? I've always thought a double header Saturday and Sunday in Georgia would be cool. Saturday run Road Atlanta and Sunday Atlanta Motor Speedway. I just think even though yes, they are technically Atlanta, they are actually they're actually really good distance away. It just wouldn't logistically make sense to make that work.
I see the logistics weekend of being difficult. Yes, that's be the only hang up.
Now, if they did that back-to-back weekends, sure, go ahead, but not in the same weekend. Naz Carson, 2414, appreciate the $9.99. Hey, NWP guys, Watkins Glen Xfinity. Wrecks were great. Time for me to be an IndyCar fan with dominant drivers being so young in NASCAR now, like stupid Zilisch. Whoa, hello.
Whoa.
Wow.
What? What a wild comment. That was from Nas
Wow,
Carson?
I'm shocked.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Gridflow, appreciate $1.99. Who is the most attractive NASCAR driver? Well, I'm a heterosexual male, so I can't really answer this question.
I feel like that makes us the best people to ask this question because we can be truly objective. We're not swayed by our own carnal desires. We can just study their physical features.
I guess I can just go off of what I see more lady NASCAR fans trending to, and
Blaney.
most would probably say Ryan Blaney, I think.
I feel like they'd lean more Chase Elliott. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Norm
All the
Benning
moms on Facebook seem to like Ryan Blaney, so
That's true. Oh, yeah. All right, good one. Never mind. We were not qualified.
We're not the arbiters of truth on that one.
yeah. NASCAR on 2414. Appreciate the 499. Cup. Buescher spoiled the party with Rex and exciting last lap of SVG. Danny, why didn't you go to IndyCar with Aaron Rodgers winning versus the Titans? Looking back, that probably would have been the better decision. But also, I don't know. I had a prior commitment on Saturday, so I couldn't really be at the track all weekend. So it just didn't make as much sense for me to go Sunday when really I didn't know much about what was going on in IndyCar, sadly, because I'm just very casual with it. Also, these are season tickets that belong to my mother-in-law. So the person who was going to go to the game kind of backed that last minute. So we just saw a chance to go to the game. That's why we took it.
They're putting their most attractive drivers in the chat, and these are two that are back-to-back, Tony Breidinger and Mike Harmon.
I mean, that's a tough decision right
Mike
there, guys.
Harmon is peak male physical form.
Bobby Blair with the Houston Texans profile picture, just giving $1.99. No comment there. But then Bobby Blair following up with another $1.99. The Dinosaur Weekly Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Arr.
BGWX Chasing, appreciate the $4.99. Another great Wednesday show. Curious to know whose idea was it to start the NWP Weekly Show. Appreciate you all taking time to entertain us all. Well, it all started with just Jarrett and I, me with my shaved head and a corner screen looking like some washed up radio DJ. We were just talking about a random dual race, and then we started bugging Eric in his Fortnite stream forever and said, hey, come talk to us. Hey, come talk to us. Hey, come talk to us. And finally he said, what do you guys want? Leave me alone. Just play Fortnite over here. And then it just turned into us talking about NASCAR every week.
To this day, he still says, what the hell? Just stop talking to me. Just leave me alone. Fine, I'll do it. If it makes you leave me alone for a couple more days.
Go back. I'm going to tell people to do this. Go back and watch the first 30 seconds of the first episode I was on. It was awkward.
It was
then you
a
need to
very
watch
weird
the
night.
final episode of our first season and see Eric dressed like an old man.
No, it's been a couple days since NASCAR.
Where's that beard? I back then, I don't even know if I had a beard. I think I did have a beard back then, but it wasn't
You had
super.
a-
I mean, still not.
You were wearing a
Like,
fake beard.
yeah, I had the fake one, but like now I'm like, yeah, I'll find that. I need to find that fake beard. It looked legit. It looked real.
Corbin Rogers, appreciate the 499. I don't usually try to cuss, but I'm just going to read him word for word because, in my opinion, it's very good for this weekend. Go damn Vols, he says.
Eric,
Bobby
what's your
Blair,
rebuff?
appreciate the $1.99.
My
I love
uncle's a
CJ
huge
Stroud.
Tennessee fan. He's going to that game.
No, Corbin Rogers will be at Bristol. I saw him in the comment section of something on Facebook saying that he would be there. Which, by the way, someone, I'm forgetting the name now, someone is actually working on a special thing. I think his name is Zach or something with NBC. He's working on a special thing. He wants people who are fans of drivers on the bubble to send in clips of themselves reacting to the race this weekend. So I thought that was pretty cool. Corbin was in the comments of that, but I told him I said Corbin, no one wants to see you glued to your phone watching Tennessee spank Oklahoma this weekend at Bristol. Bobby Blair, appreciate that $1.99. He said, I love CJ Stroud. Say that again for Eric, just so he
That's
can
so
hear that.
beautiful. That's lovely.
Scrapyard 24C, appreciate the $10. Going to be knocking something off the bucket list next Saturday. We'll be attending my first ever World of Outlaws late models race at Rocket Raceway Park in Petty, Texas, the Texas Torpedo 50. I have seen the World of Outlaws late model series before. It's a really fun series.
What is that? Rocket Raceway Park? I've not even heard of
Rocket
this one.
Raceway Park in Petty, Texas.
Where is that? Where's Petty, Texas at?
I mean, Texas is a huge state. That could be 500 miles from you.
You're not even wrong. Oh my God, that's the middle of nowhere. Where are we at here? Petty, Texas. That is. Oh, it's actually not that far from here. Wait, how far is that from here? It's on the like Oklahoma border.
See, so like my cousin Eric lives in El Paso, and I'm like thinking like, oh, January I'll be in Texas. Like, how far is El Paso from like Dallas? And then I saw it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's as
Yeah, it's
far as
like-
I drive from Nashville to Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah, so this Rocket Raceway Park is 90 minutes for me. El Paso is,
It's like 8 hours.
yeah, probably 9.5.
That's
That's if you
further.
take, that's if you take the toll route or toll roads.
That's further than I. How many times, like doing the math of 9.5 hours, how many times got to listen to former NASCAR driver and random driver of the week, Marty Robbins, sing the song El Paso?
I love that. So when you enter Texas from Louisiana, like if you go through like Beaumont, Lake Charles area, there's a sign shortly after you get into Texas that says like Houston, it's like 70 miles. El Paso, 860 miles.
Is Noah Coleman right? El Paso is closer to LA than Houston.
Yes, that is, I believe, correct. Because I've driven Houston to LA a couple times, and I usually stop just short of El Paso, and that's like halfway.
I will say this though, man. I love how fast the traffic is in Texas.
Oh, there's
It
80
is
mile an hour speed limits out there.
85, dude. There was an
Yep.
85 at one point. I'm like, I'm in heaven.
Yeah,
like, because
there's- around Austin, there's some 85s. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they're still there.
You
So
drive
I've-
that fast in like Florida because you have to survive. You drive that fast in Texas because it's an expectation.
I've
To live.
I've been to LA this year and I've been to Dallas this year. I much prefer driving in Dallas.
Really, over LA, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
the roads are big and scary, but at least it's not cramped and twisty.
I mean, the roads are honestly similar size from what I remember, but you had to get expressway if you want to go fast in LA.
My favorite thing I still think about sometimes, Danny, is when you and Claudia came to visit us. And so, Chad, they flew into one of the Dallas I guess both Dallas airports are like north of the city and drove up. We live really north of the city. So they landed north of downtown, drove up to us. And Danny, when he comes over, he's like, man, like I didn't realize Dallas was so big. Like I'm not sure we ever left downtown. And I was laughing like, buddy, you were never in downtown.
Dude, there's nothing but businesses. You never once see countryside unless you go to Prosper, Texas.
Yep, you got to go up to like Prosper and a little further north, Fort Worth.
It's just
Denton
literally
area.
all there's a business, there's a business, there's a business.
It's lots of big buildings, lots of skyscrapers every mile. Yeah, but I just thought that was funny. I still think about that sometimes,
Oh
Danny.
gosh, this last super chat's gonna keep us here for hours. But
No,
Oh,
I'm
no.
already writing down my rankings.
Fred Dog 81, appreciate the $5. As new dog owners, How do you feel about Denny Hamlin blaming his dog for his recent struggles? First of all, he's just joking. He's not
Okay,
serious.
I will say this though: if you get a dog and you're kind of on the fence about it beforehand, but the other person isn't, that dog can drive you insane. Just saying. I love my dogs. My dog, I should say. I don't have dogs. One dog, but trust me.
I was gonna say, are you projecting on a Denny Hamlin here or something?
When Rhett was having accidents on the carpet and I had to clean up liquefied fun, we'll just say that I had to clean that up after podcasts. I was not a big fan of my dog. He has since gotten better. I have worked with him, trained him, of course. You have to put the effort in. But my God, in the moment, I was like, "You're making me a cat person, dude."
Oh man. Yeah, Danny, I didn't listen to the podcast yet, but yeah, the bit with getting rid of the dog, I feel kind of bad because that dog's probably been there for a couple months now, starting to get comfortable. I feel bad getting rid of the dog. I know he's kind of,
Denny's just joking. The dog was more of his wife's idea, I think. He's just kind of trying to tease her a little bit.
Denny's a little weird though. I don't know.
He's a weird dude,
He's a little weird dude.
Yeah,
I can see
he'll
it.
boycott
He's a
NASCAR
weirdo.
and then re-sign Bubba Wallace.
He's a goofy boy. He's a little bit of a wacky
He's a goofy
Wednesday. You know what I mean?
He's a weird guy. Sponsored by the mail, you know?
Rhett Butler has been a good dog lately.
I do respect people who are a little superstitious about sports specifically. I had a Lucky Matt Kenseth shirt I wore every Sunday for like 3 years until I was convinced it wasn't lucky anymore. Like, I respect a little bit of sports superstition.
Bobby Blair, appreciate another $1.99 of no caption, but then another $1.99 from Bobby Blair. All hell, the Strouds.
He's going all in. I like it. But
He's
also
a full-blown Texan fanatic, and he has every right to be. They are the best team in the AFC South.
No, that's not exactly.
hard.
They've been that way for a while.
They only
Right.
team with a win in the
literally,
AFC
they are the
South.
only team in the AFC South, but with not just one win, but 2 wins. But all the other ones are 0-2.
I mean, that statistically speaking, then yes, that you can't deny that.
Like, it's a toss-up for who wants to be the worst team right now.
Yeah.
And then finally, Isaac V24 with $1.99. Jarrett, rank the Jurassic Park films. Go.
Right, so there's 6.
And
So
I guess that also includes Jurassic World as well.
yeah, so I'll go from last to first. Last is Jurassic World Dominion. I'm sorry, that movie.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh,
I've not seen it.
Fucking terrible.
Oh, we got a cat and we got pets in everyone's stream now. Oh, there he is. I see him.
There's
Yeah.
the heifer. No, Dominion was awful. There were some good moments in it, but pretty bad. Fallen Kingdom, I liked. It was so bad it wasn't even good, but it was so bad it was entertaining. I liked it in that respect, and I like because there were some Easter eggs to like hardcore Jurassic Park fan kind of things, like hardcore stuff that normies wouldn't know. Fourth, Jurassic Park 3. I mean, it just, if you love it for what it is, it's okay. It's fun. Jurassic World in third. Kind of the best of the new ones. Lost World second. I think underrated. And then Jurassic Park's my favorite movie ever. So
That seems like I've not seen Jurassic Park 3 and I haven't seen Dominion, but what I have seen and what I hear other people say, that seems like a very sensible list.
yeah, it's the Jurassic World films had so much potential, and like the thing with Fallen Kingdom for me is it had so much potential for afterwards, and they completely wasted it. Like Dominion.
Yeah.
Okay. You say you haven't seen Dominion, right?
No.
Okay. No one spoiled this for him. Then I want to ask you.
I'll get to it
what do you
eventually,
think-
I guess.
What do you think the big, what do you think the big villain is in this movie? Like, what is putting them in danger in this movie?
So wasn't it at the end of Fallen Kingdom? Aren't dinosaurs unleashed on the public?
Yes.
It wasn't. I can't remember who it was. There was a big scary dinosaur that was like a lab experiment gone feral. I don't remember what the hell was going on exactly.
So the Indoraptor, yeah.
Yeah, the Indoraptor, and then was there a person? I forget who was there, like a crazy scientist, government person.
Yeah.
I don't remember who was the bad guy. Ronald McDonald. I don't know.
Locusts.
Oh, just like bugs.
Locusts, giant fucking bugs. Those were the villains in it.
That's kind of
they had to stop
anticlimactic.
locusts from eating crops from a giant eating crops that were from the rival organization's corporate, buyers and shit.
Oh, I love that.
It was so bad. They wasted Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum coming back on
that's
freaking
right.
bugs.
Bugs and politics. That's what every summer
You-
blockbuster needs.
You know what I'd like? Because they have like the writers of the new Planet of the Apes films, which I really, really like. You know what I would really like them to do with like the newest movie? Clean freaking slate. I want like a avian flu that wipes out most of humanity and have a real Jurassic World. Change the actual status quo.
Like you want like the dinosaurs to be the main characters?
No, I want so like, you know, in Planet of the Apes, where it's like, you know, the humans are like sort of they're the second class species. Yeah. I want that with dinosaurs, where it's like people are like living in this world that's ruled by dinosaurs. And like,
do you want should the dinosaurs talk? Are we gonna have talking dinosaurs voiced by Jack Black?
They got way too close to that. They got way too close to that. Trust me.
Dominion?
In Jurassic Park 3, the raptors would talk to each other, among other things. Which
sign language.
It's just they need to get it back to reality in some ways. And I feel like, you know, what way could you really freak people out? How about a global pandemic that ends up like ending civilization? That'd freak people out after the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, that'd hit close to home. I
feel.
We
didn't even have nearly as bad as what could wipe people out. Let's do something different. Like there's not been anything done different in a Jurassic Park movie since 1997. In my lifetime.
I have a side note of thinking of series like this. A series that gets infinitely worse the more advanced that computer graphic technology gets over time.
Star Wars.
That too. But Tremors.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It was perfect in the original. As the timeline goes on, it gets worse and worse. And somehow a random side character played by actor Michael Gross becomes the #1 consistent character in the entire series somehow.
I didn't know they made more than one Tremors.
There's like 6.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's so bad. Like these are movies like come the new year.
They were all free on YouTube for a while. You should, if they're still there, you should.
Sounds like I can see why.
These are movies that like we need to watch and just like all of us like just have a drinking game with them.
And side note, as I started binge watching the Tremors movies, and I started seeing the Michael Gross get older, I realized where I had seen Michael Gross before. There's a whole video on YouTube of how to build a model railroad, and it's him. He's the host. He's in the model trains. He's the one showing you how to build it.
Irvin Alvarado brings up this awesome series that my parents used to watch, and they showed me, and I love Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I remember that.
Oh, it's amazing.
I remember watching a little bit of that.
They're actually on tour. They go under the name Riff Tracks now, and they do the same thing with modern movies. It's awesome. Like literally, they did one with the movie Avatar, the blue people one, the crappy one, not Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I was gonna say the Avatar
series.
movie, the Airbender movies have been pretty crappy too.
We don't talk about that. But literally,
Jared, did you enjoy the Netflix show? Did you watch that, the Avatar Netflix show?
I tried.
I couldn't get through more than like 3 episodes. It was hard.
I tried. It was difficult because Jurassic Park's my favorite movie. Avatar is my favorite show. I will to the end of my life say Avatar is the greatest show ever made because it appeals to every audience in a meaningful, mature way.
Yeah,
it should have stayed animated. It should have never left that realm. And same thing, I will get mad if there's ever a live adaptation of Samurai Jack. That should always stay animated too.
Do you know there's actually an Avatar: The Last Airbender animated movie coming out next year of all of them in their 20s? It's made by the original creators.
So that's what they did after they abandoned the Netflix show?
I'll take it. Hey, Dante Bosco's coming back as Zuko, so.
Hey, to be fair, I want to see what Zuko's like these days. So
what's he up to these days?
Oh, I mean, he was a little hateful in the Boondocks. I'll show you that clip after. Before we end off, since we've been doing it every week, how do we think our NFL teams will do?
Big L to Malik Willis this weekend.
They're going against Green Bay.
Oh, okay, that'll be tough. I haven't watched any Green Bay this year.
Jordan Love's out.
Like the fact that Malik Willis is going to beat us is the hard part.
That's tricky. So Danny, you have to decide who wins, Texans or Vikings.
And then we'll choose our scores after you do.
Yeah, I actually want to get my thoughts on that one. Sorry, Jared, I got to go Texans on that one.
Bobby Blair left a $4.99 saying just found this out. Happy birthday to the legend himself, Boris said.
Happy birthday, Boris, wherever you may be.
He also gave another $1.99 and said the Pet Weekly podcast.
All right, Eric, you go. I'll give my score prediction after you.
So I think it's going to be really tight. Texans committed a lot of dumb penalties, but that being said, if Cam Akers, our third string running back, doesn't fumble at the goal line, we still win by 2 scores at least. So the Texans are better than the Vikings, I believe, but at Minnesota, they've rallied around Sam Darnold. That's a strong roster. I think Texans 24-20.
Okay. So,
then-
fun fact, the Texans have never beat the Vikings.
I can believe it. We haven't only in the last few years. Well, briefly with Deshaun Watson and now with CJ, have we actually
Okay.
been good?
So it sounds
On
like
that-
Mixon
on that-
isn't playing.
On
Based
that
on
same
Is he
note,
out?
So I saw
He got his
coach-
ankle rolled up on. I don't know. Have they said is he out?
The coach was D'Amico Ryans, right? He had a press conference today and said it might be a couple weeks.
Oh, that would be unfortunate.
On- on that same note, Tennessee and Oklahoma, I think had only played like 3 times before this weekend, and I think Oklahoma's won every time. And that was like 2015 was the last time they played. So that was Baker Mayfield years. That was much different Oklahoma than Tennessee with Butch Jones. That's a much different Tennessee. So, Jarrett, just generally curious, who do you think is going to win that one?
I'll go Oklahoma.
Bold.
I will
Very
never say
bold.
Tennessee.
Damn. Sorry. What's your Vikings score?
So I think that it's going to be close too. I think the defenses are going to be the real deciding factor here.
Yeah.
Addison probably won't play, but Jefferson will be good to go. So I'm going to go Houston 20, Minnesota 17. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be within a field goal no matter what the score is.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. Texans last year was a lot of 1-score games.
It's same with the Vikings. I would not be surprised, just like I said it last week, that I don't think that the Vikings will win, but it wouldn't necessarily surprise me if they pull it out. This defense is insane this year.
For Minnesota?
Yeah, because
I think you're right. I think my score may have been a little high. I mean, I trust Stroud to make some big plays, but the Texans sacked Caleb 7 or 8 times.
But
I know they're not obviously as good as Minnesota, but if you sack him 8 times, I think we can get to Darnold 3 or 4 times and maybe blow some stuff up.
Don't underestimate Sammy Dimes' athleticism.
He's certainly got more awareness at this point in his career than Caleb Williams likely does. So
and if Caleb Williams or if CJ Stroud gives Darnold any advice, I believe Darnold would actually listen, unlike Caleb Williams.
Did you guys just see Shug just wrap up and bite me there?
No, I was looking down.
I was not. I'm sorry, but Cat, that doesn't surprise me. That's Cat's.
I will say this. I was surprised last week because the score was 23-17. I believe the Vikings beat 49ers, and it was not indicative in any way of how much of an ass kicking Minnesota really gave them. If it wasn't for Fred Warner, I think the Vikings would have won 34-10.
It's so tough to predict. There's been nobody would have picked the Vikings to beat San Francisco last week. Was that at Levi?
What'd you say?
Was it at San Francisco?
Oh, it was in Minnesota.
Okay, well, but still, I mean, look at some of these teams. The Ravens are 0-2. That's shocking.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's
well, the Ravens ain't
0-2.
even using Derrick Henry, right? So,
but it's a lot of very interesting. Oh my gosh, Suggs is getting a little athlete. Very tough to predict some of these
ready
early
for me
scores.
to be done.
Yeah, we've probably gone long enough.
Yeah, let me get the ticker and everything off.
These last 15 minutes is basically what we do when the show is over, y'all. Minus usually Jarrett has something he wants to screen share. That's usually the only difference.
Oh, and I'm gonna do that, but I can't do that on air because what I'm gonna show you guys, that would get us demonetized.
It would end my
immediately.
channel forever.
Shadow Realm.
So next week we will be on Eric's channel, September 25th, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Should be a lot of
How many
fun.
people are watching right now, Jarrett? Because I think my screen's frozen.
311.
There was someone in the chat a little while ago that said, I think it's funny how these guys don't even realize they're still live at this point. Yeah, we know we're live. We're just rambling.
No, that's that. I'm saying this is basically what we do post show most weeks.
Ramble on.
I don't know what brought it on this time.
I don't know, but Danny, you want to lead us on out?
Yeah, I pray to the good Lord I feel better by next week. I pray that Oklahoma doesn't humble my Vols because I love when Tennessee football is undefeated.
Really?
And I hope everyone wins. No, Jared just likes to give me a hard time. That's all that is.
Yeah.
That's all
It
that
is
is.
fun.
I picked against the Vikings, so he had to.
It is fun. All right.
At this point, like Jarrett, I just know ignore that comment.
In one ear, out the other.
My ears are so clogged up from whatever I have going on. Won't even get into this point.
Roll the outro. It's rolling.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ready. Green flag, all rolling. All the way out. Stay in, stay in, stay in. Come on, come on, come on. Bye-bye, front end. See you later. These guys are really good.